It's time for Intelligent Machines. Jeff's here. Paris is here. Our guest, Craig Silverman, is an expert in disinformation. A journalist and a co-founder of Indicator.media. We'll talk to him about disinformation. He's the guy who coined the term fake news. Yes, he was the first to say it. And then a lot of real news in the AI world. That's all coming up next on Intelligent Machines.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines with Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis. Episode 853, recorded Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. All the clocks were wrong. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we cover all the latest news about AI, robotics, and all those smart G-jaws surrounding you in your home. Unless they're run by Verizon, in which case they're just dead and not so smart. Paris Martineau lives in Verizonville. She's an investigative journalist.
I do. I haven't been able to send or receive a call for 4 hours.
That's so weird.
Not even to 911.
Paris, don't you have a landline?
I don't, but I should.
Come on, Jeff Jarvis. You sound like an old guy here. Jeff Jarvis.
I feel like one too, yeah.
Professor Emeritus of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at University of Montclair State University, was a visiting fellow, and at SUNY Stony Brook, author of the Gutenberg Parenthesis and magazine. I feel it's unfair, Paris, that he gets such a long intro, and all we just say
and
is...
a song.
And a song. We got to do something for you. We got to do something for you.
We gotta balance it out.
Yeah.
Nick Cage lover, historian, and expert.
It's true. Very important.
Document troller and conspiracist.
Yes. The queen of the red string. How about that?
That's pretty good.
Yeah. We got a great guest. And actually, Jeff, you have brought him to us. Craig Silverman is here, Canadian journalist, one of the world's leading experts on disinformation, on fake news, co-founder of a relatively young new newsletter and website dedicated to exposing digital deception. It's called Indicator at indicator.media. He was at ProPublica before that, BuzzFeed News. He's a founding editor of BuzzFeed Canada. And my favorite site name, Regret the Error.
We're going back. It was a while ago.
Going back in time, 10 years ago.
Guess who wrote the foreword in that book, I'm honored to say.
That's right.
Ooh.
So,
Wow.
Jeff, I should have let you do the intro.
Craig and I do go way back, early in the whole disinformation days.
Yeah.
Craig wrote a phenomenal regular, it was a blog, right, Craig?
Yeah, back in launched in 2004. Yeah.
It collected error corrections.
Regret.
And they're
Hence
brilliant.
the name. We regret the error.
Regret the error. And they're great reading. They're just wonderful. But it also said a lot about journalism, that journalism used to try to correct itself. Craig, I got to ask you first. In your memory, do you have a single or the two favorite corrections from those days?
There was one where Reuters, which was rare. You didn't see a lot of wire services making big mistakes, but Reuters, they had an amazing autocorrect error where I think instead of referring to Queen Elizabeth, they sort of substituted, or actually it was the other way around. Instead of referring to the queen bee of a colony, they referred to Queen Elizabeth being able to lay up to 2,000 eggs per day. I can't believe I remember that, like off the top, because it's been a long time. But yeah, that one stuck with me.
There
was a headline also where their correction was, there was a headline on Tuesday that mistakenly referred to New York as Jew York. There's a lot of stuff like that.
Oh, geez. Well, there were a few people in the world who actually think that, so it, maybe wasn't such a typo. Mm-hmm. Well, the media is still making errors, but now they're doing it on steroids. And I think it's appropriate to bring you onto a show about AI because I imagine AI is now one of the best ways to create disinformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's there's a great quote from the researcher Renee DiResta where she talks about social media taking the cost of distribution of information to zero, and then AI taking the cost of generation to zero. So now you can reach huge amounts of people, of course, very easily on social networks, but it used to take time to sort of come up with, what's our narrative? How are we going to generate, how are we going to create a video? How are we going to create images to sort of spread, this lie or, just sort of make our argument? And now, what might have taken hours, days, needed expertise in certain areas is, a matter of minutes and prompts. And so we sort of see that in a variety of different manifestations. Some might be kind of like politically oriented, state-backed kinds of campaigns, and others is just, scammers and other people who are spreading false information, creating deepfakes of prominent people to sell products and do other things. And it is trivial now to just generate stuff that looks pretty convincing and then to get it distributed quite quickly.
There's
Where
a
does
precedent
scale-
for this because spam, it costs nothing to send out. And even though it may be a low return on your investment, since the investment is so low, you get the benefits. This is kind of weaponized spam.
Yeah. And it's, spam, you would send out millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of emails, and it would hit a person individually. And, in the dynamics of sort of the social environment, if you get it and it reaches a certain amount of people and they interact with it enough, then sort of the systems themselves take over for it.
That's key, isn't it? It goes viral. Yeah.
This is it. And so you sort of get it. You get the systems working for you if you target it well. This is my cat's tail, Rosie, who always knows.
Cute.
Hi, Rosie.
She's so cute. We saw her come down the stairs. So
this
cute.
is it. She sort of, I thought she was going away, and then she's like, no, I'm going to make an appearance. And,
she
I
framed
really
me. That
enjoy
was
its
great.
all tail.
Our cat's named Rosie too. Do you spell it I-E or Y?
I-E.
Yeah, us too. Wow. Yeah.
Nice.
So we have a Rosie that's all black. In fact, Rosie's the complement of your Rosie, our Rosie.
There you go. Yeah, she's mostly white, and then we have a black dog. So the dog is scared to come down to the basement, so it's only Rosie who comes.
Cats are never as scared. When there's a camera on, they immediately show up. Paris, you were going to ask something. I interrupted. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think I think there was one really interesting example of the way that AI has kind of both lowered the cost of creating and disseminating this information. We saw this the other week with Casey Newton over at Platformer had a good breakdown of debunking kind of this AI food delivery hoax that had fooled Reddit and went a bit viral. If you guys recall, this was, I believe, a Reddit post that basically claimed that they worked for an unnamed food delivery app and they were up to no good and basically doing all of these terribly evil things, and that they had proof. And this unnamed Redditor, Casey, like a lot of other journalists at the time, reached out trying to confirm whether or not this was true. And the person sent back a photo of their ID at Uber Eats, as well as internal company documents that really seem to spell all this out in great detail. And Casey says in his post, she's like, I was excited to see both the ID as well as then you see this document, and that seems impossible to fake, but both were completely fake, it turns out, and generated, I assume, very quickly using something like Gemini.
I think it actually was Gemini, and I think that was kind of the mistake that this person's made. And I hate to sort of say this like I'm giving people a playbook, but Gemini, Google. So one of the things to sort of combat the onslaught of AI generated content is that a lot of platforms, technology companies, the Adobes of the world, the Metas of the world, the OpenAIs, they've all signed on to sort of create and insert metadata content credentials. When you generate an image with Gemini or with ChatGPT, there's supposed to be some data embedded in it that, could then put a label when it gets shared on Facebook saying, hey, this was generated with AI. And Google has actually gone a step further where they've got their own kind of proprietary watermarking technology where called Synth ID, where not only are they embedding the metadata, which unfortunately sometimes doesn't end up in the file, it's very uneven right now, but they also have this kind of watermarking they do, and then they have detection tools for things that have been created in Gemini. So all that to say, I believe that this person had used Gemini for some or all of those documents and images, and I think that was one of the ways that Casey was able to sort of have a really high level of confidence that this stuff was AI generated. Because the truth is that a lot of the AI detection tools you can't really rely on. They don't work equally across all the different models. And so where it's cheap, easy, fast to generate the stuff, to actually verify it, to debunk it, to dig into it, is still quite labor intensive, because there's no simple, aside from if you get lucky with Synth ID, there usually isn't a really fast way to know instantly.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting also because once this had come out and Casey had kind of done his blog about it, then a reporter from NBC shared, I'll share the image in the Discord chat here, Leo, that the fake ID, it was an Uber Eats ID that this alleged delivery employee had sent to Casey. It was seemingly generated based on a ID from an NBC reporter. The NBC reporter had sent the same person trying to corroborate that they were a legit reporter.
Here's my ID. Let's see yours. Interestingly, it's almost identical. Just the color is different. Wow. That is kind of a giveaway.
But when you want, it's the thing about us journalists is we want the story. We don't want to ask too many questions. I mean, yes, we should. We always should. And that's where Craig's heritage in journalism comes back, is that you're better off when you make a mistake to correct it. But we never thought that way. We wanted to hide, and we wanted the story to happen. And it's hard to ask that added question.
Well, even harder for us as individuals, because how are we supposed to do this kind of work and figure this stuff out? And we're flooded with disinformation, so much so that even if you wanted to and could, figure it out, you probably wouldn't have the time to do so.
And that's, I think, baked into it to a certain extent is, there's an old saying in journalism, something being too good to check, which is, not a sincere saying. It's more just like, oh, that's an amazing story. That's almost too good to check. You're not supposed to sort of not check it, right?
You're not supposed to admit it either.
And so that is sort of the scenario of you can craft these things and you can, drop it in the right place. And it can sort of catch like wildfire. And of course, look, there's human dynamics here as well. Of we read something that aligns with what we may suspect about, food delivery companies and apps. It aligns with our suspicions, our beliefs, and we're just more likely to accept it as human beings. And we read something that goes against that. And it's not just that we might be skeptical of it, we might actually unconsciously look for reasons to dismiss it. And so when people are crafting these kinds of things, this might have just been a one-off prankster, but when you think about people and organizations that are sort of thinking about this as campaigns, as many of them do, as jobs that they go in and work 9 to 5, whether they're in a scam compound or in, a disinformation operation funded by a state, they're really strategic about it, and they think about how to craft these narratives, and then they have the ability to just iterate really, really rapidly with the images, the text, the video, to find out what's going to actually work and hit with people. And that's kind of unfair as an advantage. And
to some extent, you can also blame the platforms. You've done some work that on the Meta issue with them making $7 billion a year from scam ads. They're not strongly incented to fix this. They want us to go out, right?
There's, the thing that Meta will say is, listen, we don't want our users being scammed. But the reality is, I did a story, I guess it was, 7 years ago now, about just like one shady marketing company in San Diego that they alone had spent more than, I think it was $50 million on scam ads, placing them on Meta.
Oh my God.
And now it's actually gotten so much worse than that. It is sort of industrialized. I mentioned scam compounds. In Myanmar and some other places around the world, there are, people who have been human trafficked who end up basically having to work as forced labor, scamming people in the US and Canada and other countries. And the defenses and the oversight, it's just not there. And unfortunately, when it comes to the ads, like there is a money factor for the platforms, is that scam ads do make them money. And as much as it does rip off their users, and that is probably a bad thing, the recent reporting from Jeff Horowitz and Reuters show that Meta has been aware of it and has failed to take a lot of really important steps to turn it off. I hope that stuff coming to light might start to change things.
It's got to be hard if you're making $7 billion a year to say, well, we really shouldn't be doing that. That's a lot of money to say no to. They shouldn't, obviously, but I can maybe understand a little bit. Indicator says, stay ahead of digital deception. You provide not only news, but tools as well to help people avoid disinformation. Yes?
Yeah, we're sort of a mix of, one, we do reporting and investigations exposing different types of digital deception. So it might be disinformation, it could be, fake engagement, lots of different types of tactics that people are using these days. But we also want to kind of share the recipe, I guess. And so when we do investigations, we include, here's all the tools, here's all the techniques, here's everything we did to report this story. You could do that yourself. And then we also, for professionals who work in journalism, research, or just really motivated consumers, we provide workshops and kind of how-to guides about how to do this type of digital investigative work, because I think there is a need to kind of raise the level for everybody out there. As you said, Leo, the reality is everybody has to kind of do their own fact-checking now. So much information coming at you. It's not being filtered, through professional sources, which had some advantages, but also had disadvantages, of course. And there's more responsibility on all of us now to try to figure out what we're seeing. Otherwise, we just end up on autopilot, and that can lead down some bad paths, particularly around stuff like scams and what have you.
Well, you already said that some of the tools used to detect AI fakes are unreliable.
Yeah.
What you call this OSINT? What OSINT tools work? What should people be looking at? You have a whole workshop video, I might add, if you pay to subscribe to Indicator, that you can watch. But I'm going to try to get it for free out of you here. So
yeah, we'll do that. We do
God's work.
we do a monthly workshop basically for members, and the topic depends on whatever we've reported on or looked at that month.
Tools you use, in other words.
Absolutely. The tools that we use, and I also basically, I'm just obsessed with this world, and so I'm always testing new ones, and I'm sort of saying to people, hey, I'll nerd out on this and I'll tell you which ones are good. And the challenge when it comes to images and video, so first of all, the simplest tool is reverse image search, which is free and widely available. And been around for a while, kind of thanks to J-Lo and the revealing dress she wore at, I think it was the
Super Bowl.
Was it the MTV Music Award? I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute, the revealing dress. I was thinking of the wardrobe malfunction. That was somebody else. Yeah, the revealing dress.
That was a different one. No, that was not.
Yeah.
And like the legendary story was that so many people were searching about her in the dress that, people at Google were like, oh, we should do for images what we do for text. And so you have the ability, and the beautiful thing now is Google Lens is built into, the Chrome web browser, built into the Google app. And you can just hold this up at an image you're looking at and potentially get some context of it. Oh, they're saying that this is, a person who was here in this city today, but actually this image appears to be 6 years old. And you can get some context on that image. And sometimes an AI image or video has circulated enough that there actually is a way to get kind of a report from a reverse image tool like Lens or TinEye that would say, hey, here are places where people have been talking about this. And so that's one part of it, is try to find the origin. Where did this thing come from? And another piece is, sort of just old school verification techniques of the when and the where. So can I figure out when this photo or this video might have been taken? Okay, it's nighttime. I see a street sign. I see a business sign, and it's got an area code in it that suggests it's in New York City. And you start to just kind of figure out, are there real artifacts in this image or video that are tied to a real place? And can I confirm that that's what this place looks like? If there's a prominent person in it, can I figure out what their schedule was or reach out to their representative? And so the tools kind of can get you sometimes pretty far, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of traditional kind of visual observation work of what you're looking at, what's in there. Can I figure out people in it? Can I talk to them? Old school kind of journalism, but I mean, reverse image search is a great tool. The other one I mentioned before is metadata, which is that videos and images, when they are created, they have data embedded in the file. And there are free metadata readers where you can sort of drop one of these into. The downside of that is most times when a photo or a video is uploaded to a social network, the metadata is stripped out because they don't want that extraneous data. But if it's from Telegram, they keep it there, which is great. Or if it does have this sort of AI metadata in it, sometimes you might still find that metadata there in a metadata reader that actually tells you, oh, this was generated with Google Gemini. This was generated with this or that. And hopefully we're going to see platforms integrating that more.
Paris, do you ever use anything like this in your researches? You probably should.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I've definitely. I've also used. I mean, Craig, I think, has a lot of very interesting resources and guidebooks that I've always used.
Oh, okay.
Like the
So you know all
Disinformation
about
Handbook
this.
and things
Yeah.
like that.
Oh.
They have lots of great resources just for any sort of kind of OSINT research.
Craig, we've talked about content credentials before. Who was that we interviewed? I forget. But this is the opposite direction, where you actually try to prove that the photo that you've posted is real and what camera it came from and all of that. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the opposite of AI detection. It's asserting that it's real. Is that taking off, or is this kind of dead in the water?
Well, the positive thing about it is that there's a decent amount of industry buy-in, I would say, on this stuff. So you do see some of the larger platforms and tech companies and the Adobes of the world and camera makers and other people.
Yeah, I have a Leica that does it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And so they've kind of signed on to this. Where it gets tricky is when it kind of hits sort of the average person, I suppose, in that, like you can have a high level of confidence that Leica, if it's signed on to this and says it's in its cameras, it's probably putting that in there. But,
I hope so.
Yeah, you would hope so.
A lot of money to get that. Okay.
And but the problem is when it reaches the member of the public, is that actually going to be available for them to look at? And so we actually did kind of an audit on this earlier this year, and we found like the performance of platforms was really, really poor. So we basically generated over 100 images with different LLMs. We generated over 100 videos similarly, and then we uploaded them. We checked to make sure the metadata was there, first of all, and then we uploaded them to a whole bunch of different platforms like Pinterest, Instagram, different ones. And, at the end of the day, what we found was that for the most part, it was about only 30% of content that had those credentials in it actually showed with a proper label when it reached the platform. And so that's them labeling AI generated content. Ideally, they should also be able to recognize and say, oh, we have content credentials that show taken with this camera on this date. But the first bar to clear was that they said, we will label AI generated content, and they're just not doing that yet.
You're credited, at least Claude AI credits you with creating the term fake news. Is that you? Did you do that?
Well,
is that Claude fake news?
Or is Claude faking that?
So no, Claude's kind of on point, and I'm a Claude customer. I have to admit, I like it. It's good,
I use it like crazy. I'm going to talk about it
of all the ones.
on.
I think Claude's pretty based.
Yeah. There's something about it, huh? That's like, I mean,
I also like
good, but
that it feels a bit more anti-glazing than the average LLM. Yeah. I don't know whether that could just be glazing in and of itself because it recognizes that I could want that capability, but
yeah. No, I'm with you. There's something about it, and maybe it's a bit of the branding and the feel and all that and their messaging, but the stuff that comes out of it seems to, because I have that and I have access to the paid models for Gemini, and I'm leaning more towards Claude these days. But all that being said,
he says it the Canadian way, by the way.
Claude.
We were told
That's
that we
true.
have to. Joey says you got to say Claude. Okay. Joey
I lived in Quebec for a while, so
Claude.
absolutely. Yeah. And maybe that's also part of the appeal.
So you originated the term fake news. Claude is correct.
Yeah. So I usually say I sort of popularized it, and then Trump kind of took it, and so like quickly the backstory is in 2014 I was doing a research project at the Tao Center at Columbia, where I was studying how viral claims were spreading, and particularly how news organizations and news websites were covering them. So there'd be a report somewhere, or there'd be a claim on Twitter, and then when me and a research assistant, we would look at who covered that and how they wrote about it. Did they report it as true? Did they report that, it could be true? Did they say it's false? And we would look at the associated social engagement to try and sort of, start to quantify like how much were news organizations consciously or unconsciously spreading things that turned out to not be true? How much were they jumping on rumors to try and get social engagement around them? And so as part of that research, I was out there hunting for, claims that were in that gray area of maybe true, maybe false, as well as stuff that was just like totally fake, totally false. And I came across a cluster, like, more than a dozen websites that all looked like real news websites. They had news articles on them. They had bylines. They had photos for their authors. The authors often had bios, but everything was 100% made up. And it was all about the ads on the site. So they would come up with a crazy headline and story. They would post on Facebook. It would go viral. People would click, because at that time, Facebook still had showing people links, and people clicked like crazy. This is 2014, and it was all about money. It was just, and so I just in the research report I ended up publishing in early 2015, I described them as fake news websites, because that's what they were to me, literally just a fake news website, and defined it as 100% false, intended to deceive, and economically driven. And that was the definition I used from 2014 all the way through to the end of 2016, as I was doing lots of reporting at that time for BuzzFeed News about, the false pro-Trump stuff that was coming from, the guys I reported on in North Macedonia who were, running those websites, which ended up being a big story at the time. And yeah, that was when the term sort of got out there and was popularized. And then starting, I guess, in about January of 2017, Trump decided to take ownership of the term, I would say.
And then
that's the best way to co-opt those terms, and then you can make them your own. That's the best way.
Well, that's what he did. There's somebody we used to work with, all of us in the disinformation space in the back, named Claire Wardle, who's now at Brown University, I think. She tried to lecture us all and say, stop using it.
Yeah,
because it's being used by Trump, and you don't want to play into that. But it was a lost cause. It was out there in the lexicon.
We're talking to a disinformation researcher, Craig Silverman. His publication, his newsletter, is a great wealth of information, not only about what's going on out there, but also how to detect it yourself. Indicator.media is the place to go. You talk a little bit about the gender consequences of fake images. And of course, Grok's been in the news. Malaysia, Indonesia blocking Grok. The UK is considering blocking Grok because of the non-consensual deep fakes it's been generating. Of course, actually, they want to block X because that's where they all end up. And just earlier today, Elon, this is, by the way, the other side of fake news is lie, right? And if you lie, what's Ben Franklin said, the lie goes all the way around the world while the truth's just putting its pants on. Lies somehow manage to get lodged in the brain, and people believe them. Just this morning, Elon said, I'm not aware of any naked underage images generated by Grok. Oh, literally zero. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Grok does not spontaneously generate images. It only does so according to user requests. Well, yeah. When asked to generate images, it'll refuse to produce anything illegal as the operating principle. By the way, our friend, I can't show them, Pliny the Liberator, immediately posted a bunch of images he liberated. They got Grok, broke Grok to do. So yes, you can clearly do it. This is the other side of this, is that the people with a vested interest in disinformation use that platform to lie about it, to spread more disinformation that makes people question their own eyes, their own brains.
Yeah, Musk's takeover of Twitter obviously really changed the dynamics of the kind of content that was there. I don't follow him, but I get his tweets, whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and it's interesting. I think he was smart enough to realize if you control this platform, you control a bully pulpit. This is very, very valuable. This was worth $44 million, money he can easily afford, because it gave him such power.
Craig, I'm curious as we go back. Oh, so ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say quickly, I mean, the other thing that I think made the purchase worth it for him was that, you know, with the growth of AI and LLMs, you need training data and you need access to an ongoing stream of information. And, you know, that's why now X is part of XAI, because that's, you know, it's just feeding into and presents the models there. So in the end, I don't think that's what he originally planned and said, this is exactly what will happen. But I think it's worked out quite well for him.
So, Craig, I'm curious to go back to 2016 and the rush about fact checking. You were very much involved. Your co-founder, Alexios, was very much involved. We both talked to Meta at the time about their efforts to hire fact checkers. There was a fact checking organization. I'm curious about your thoughts about lessons learned. What did that movement do right and wrong? What should we know based on that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because for a long time, fact checking was very, very small, very, very niche. Nobody really, you know, didn't pay a huge amount of attention to it. And it was often focused on, it was mostly an American phenomenon. And it was mostly focused on checking the public statements of politicians and other big public figures. And a little bit, even before the end of 2016, a little bit, you would see the PolitiFacts and others starting to be like, yeah, we should probably check these viral claims, whether they're from a public figure or not, but the stuff going crazy on Facebook. But what happened at the end of 2016 was a massive change where Meta, then just known as Facebook, went to the International Fact Checking Network that my partner Alexios was the executive director of at the time and said, hey, we are trying to do something to improve the quality of information on our platform. What if we paid fact checkers that have been certified by you guys to kind of check things? And so this basically over the ensuing 8 years, Meta became the biggest single funder of fact checking in the world, which is, you know, crazy to think about, but also not good for the sustainability of fact checking, and also not good for the perception of fact checking, I think, as well. Yes. Where you are seen as kind of working for Meta and tied to the platform that is actually one of the biggest, you know, sources of this stuff. So on the one hand, Meta taking some responsibility, a good thing. On the other, it became in some ways, you know, a very lucrative albatross around the neck of, I think, a lot of fact checkers. And as Meta abandoned the US program early last year in a pretty spectacular fashion, throwing the fact checkers on the bus, Mark Zuckerberg calling them bias. Now I think fact checkers around the world realize like, oh, this is continuing for us, but it could end at any time. And this is a company that will throw us under the bus when the political movement makes it for them. And so I think one of the problems that fact checking has always had is that you seem like a finger wagging, you know, no fun. Yeah. You know, you're just like taking the air out of the balloon. You're no fun at a party. Yeah. Exactly. And this is honestly, like in that 2014 research project, this is what I saw. And I forget if I put this in the report or not, but this will only make sense to people who watch the show Cheers. I talked about like the Cliff Clavin effect.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You know, many people talk about the Cliff Clavin effect, but very few people know it came from Argentina in 1823. Yeah.
Paris is like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
No, sometimes this happens on this show, and I just learn to smile and nod.
Yeah. It's and I mean, Jeff is a longtime TV critic, you know.
He knows Cliff Clavin.
He knows every television.
Yeah. Absolutely, right? And so he was the know-it-all on the show, and nobody, you know, he was annoying, and I would see it when somebody would debunk something on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever, and people were like, "Oh, you're spoiling the fun." And so I think that's a problem the movement has always had is never finding a way to sort of communicate in ways other than seeming like finger wagging folks. And I also think one of the problems with that partnership was that Meta sort of was the one that decided really everything. Like they were paid, they produced fact checks, then Meta got them, and Meta could decide when to label, how to label, when to, you know, remove a label, whether or not to reduce distribution, whether to remove something. But the fact checkers ended up being the ones being blamed, even though Meta had the decisions. And so I think everybody who works in fact checking that I've ever met is well-meaning, but there's definitely been, some moments and some challenges and some problems. And I think, the brand of fact checking has been really damaged over the last decade or so, probably.
Well, it didn't help when Meta fired all the fact checkers too. That kind of undermined the whole premise, right?
In a way, it might be a liberation moment for some of the U.S. fact checkers, even though they just lost a bunch of funding, like very suddenly, to chart and have to find, that sustainability financially, but also to be able to say, we are not tied to them anymore, it could be one of these things that in the long run maybe helps fact checkers chart a different path. But the reality is, they've been under attack for quite some time by folks who have always labeled them as biased, whether, regardless of what they put out there. And I think fact checkers, like frankly, a lot of people in the disinformation community were never good at sort of battling and fighting back. It's a weird maybe irony of it except for, some people occasionally are good at it, but a lot of times they just want to do the work and not necessarily get caught up in the battle over it, but they get dragged in whether they want it or not.
I'm curious, I feel like a common criticism you often heard of fact checking was that, people don't, even if you fact check something correctly, people don't believe the fact check or will dig in their heels. Did you see that in practice?
Absolutely. And actually, it goes to Jeff's question of like, what does it sort of get wrong? I mean, for better or worse, the perception for a lot of people of fact checking is like the goal of fact checking is to change people's minds, right? That's what I think a lot of folks think. And fact checking is, for the most part, like if you're dealing with people who have an open mind, fact checking is shown to be effective. If you are talking about folks who have their mind made up and are very closely held on a belief or a particular issue, the idea that fact checkers are going to come in and write one article and that person's going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, right. I totally see it differently now. And so I think the expectations that fairly or unfairly, that the goal is to sort of change people's minds and influence how people think. I don't know that fact checkers necessarily do the work with that in mind, but it is something that I think a lot of people feel is the goal. And the truth is, like, fact checking is not really good at changing deeply held beliefs. It's better as kind of an accountability measure. And some of the data that's out there is that it was actually effective around politicians pre-Trump, where if they knew fact checkers were going to be working around their race, they were shown by some studies to actually be less likely to kind of stretch the truth a bit more. Trump blew that out of the water, but that's in the pre-Trump era where it was actually shown to be effective.
But Paris, it's also the issue of context. The folks that you sent us to at If Books Could Kill, the podcast, Glenn Kessler, who was at the fact checker at the Washington Post, was their bête noire. Because he would proudly say, oh, I found this fact and whatever it is, and I've got the fact, and would miss the larger context and would miss the larger effort at deception that occurred. And so fact-checking can be misused, I think, as they well pointed out.
Many people don't know that bête noire is an old French phrase. It refers to a black beak.
Who knew you had a good Cliff Clavin impression?
I don't know how good it is.
Don't get him started.
I live to be a know-it-all.
Can you do coach?
We do have to do a BT and a PT before Trump and post-Trump when it comes to facts and disinformation. Because in many ways, I mean, he's shown, of course, that you can defy norms, en masse. So in many ways, he's shown that it doesn't matter. In fact, didn't Kellyanne Conway say that we're in a post-fact era?
It's an alternative facts.
What are you so concerned about facts for?
Yeah, I mean, he steamrolled it. He just realized I can brute force this system. They can't keep up with me. At a certain point, it's going to keep washing over people, and I can continue to kind of make the claims and statements I want and sort of get away with it. And
is it the old Russian flood the zone model that he's using?
Exactly. There's a
that was
paper from the Rand.
Yeah, the Rand Corporation, the fire hose of falsehood. Yes.
Yep.
Fire. That's a better way to say it. Firehood of falsehood. But I doubt he'd read that Rand Corporation report. But somehow he
strategists around him did.
This is his brilliance. I think Trump intuitively understood this. I don't think it was intellectual. I think he just intuitively understood, as from his years of lying as a real estate developer about how many floors his buildings had. He learned, this works. You don't have to follow these norms.
But Leo, isn't it also? It's a Russian fire hose of disinformation.
Or Soviet.
Putin. But it was. I think there's a Putin connection. It's a strategic. It's a tactic.
It's a tactic. I think when Putin does it, it is a tactic.
There were people who were connected to it as a tactic.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of different reasons why people end up employing what become the same tactics, whether or not they are conscious or carefully planning it out.
So what do we do to restore a faith in facts? Restore a faith in science. How can we move out of this?
How do we fix everything?
How do we fix this how do we get out of this post-fact era?
Well, I'm glad you asked me because I have the answer, and it's only going to take 20 seconds, and that's it, and we're good.
Great, wonderful,
and $100 a year will help.
Boy, yeah. There isn't one fix. It's the sort of unsatisfying points around it are that it's a whole of society challenge, a whole of society problem, and it's interconnected and all those things that make it complex. But I do think for the average person, the starting point is just around some awareness of the dynamics of this information environment that we're all in, which is, incredible abundance of information and much more open, which is great, more voices, more opportunity for people to participate. But it also means it's much easier to manipulate. And so it puts a little more responsibility on all of us when it's not just like a handful of professionalized media outlets, which were never perfect. And you're not saying that was the great time, when it was like that, but you had a smaller amount of choices and it was coming in a professionalized environment where it had failings and problems, but they were sort of more contained. And today you have so much more choice, but that means you have a responsibility. You're not getting a hand holding from someone. And so the awareness of how much it is being manipulated, and that's why it's like, I don't just mention the political stuff. It's, the financially motivated people, the skeezy marketers, the scammers, all of that is out there intermingling. As Paris said, people with different motivations can create the same kind of stuff without necessarily, studying from the same textbook. And we are all kind of under attack from this stuff. And so the awareness that you need to kind of be on guard and you need to value your attention is, to me, always the very first thing. We have to be a little less passive. And I think the other part of that is like, okay, so if I'm aware, then what do I do? Is like, patience is one of the best things. You don't need to take an action right away. You don't need to, go withdraw money if someone tells you that, you owe money to the government. But you also don't need to click like, you don't need to reshare it. You don't need to necessarily stay on that video because your attention is really, really valuable to those kinds of people and the platforms, and you should value it too and think about where you are giving it and where you aren't, and don't feel like you have to take an action, because a lot of times it is about getting past your initial defenses and riling up an emotion or appealing to an existing belief, and then we're sort of on autopilot. So you have some awareness, you guard your attention, you find a way to be patient and not quick to act. And then you think about looking in other places rather than just the thing that's in front of you. And those to me are like very simple human behavioral things that if people practice, that's a really helpful thing, because it's like you can talk about tools and techniques and stuff like that, but the average person, it's really about your behavior and how you think about navigating this universe that we're in, which is really chaotic and it does have a lot of risk to it.
Is the key also funding responsible, reliable sources of information?
Well, look, it looks like I'm talking my own book when I say that, but I mean,
I kind of did set you up for that, so go ahead.
I mean, I think it's one of the challenges, and I think this is something Jeff has talked a lot about, is I don't think it's a great information environment if only the good stuff is behind paywalls. Like that's not a great scenario. We don't really want to end up with that, but I do think there's an element of you should find places that you do want to support, and you should find places that serve you and that do it well on a consistent basis. Nobody's going to be perfect, but finding ways to support that and sort of get in the habit of that, it makes people feel good when they actually are supporting, information source that they feel connected to. But I also think, like, for the larger ecosystem, we have to figure out ways to make sure that good quality information is being surfaced and is not locked away for people who can afford it.
So, Craig, as part of that too, what I've been arguing unpopularly, but not for the first time in my life, is that not only do I think that training AI models is fair use, but we as journalists need to look at our moral and ethical obligation to take journalism to where people are. And if we in journalism cut off through bot killers and legislation and litigation all the AI, then the propagandists and the marketers are going to have a field day. They will have AI to themselves, and AI won't know when to call upon the journalistic organization. How do you look at how we operate from journalism in this new reality?
Yeah, I can see why it's unpopular to say it should all be fair use for that.
We should give it all up to the AI.
Parents are kind of like,
I don't know.
But I mean, I think there's a fundamental point there of, you don't want to surrender that environment and starve it of good quality information. At the same time, I think the challenge for me around that argument is you look at the valuations, you look at the fundraising that those companies have, and it's like, I think they got a little bit of money to maybe,
I think there's a discussion to be had. Yes,
there's, and it should be a negotiation, and I hope that yes, that information gets in there. What actually concerns me about it is even if they do these deals, they're going to end up the way basically Meta ended up, which is it did start doing deals with fact checkers, and then it did deals with news organizations. And because it did deals with news organizations that some people said, oh, those are all liberal news organizations, and it felt it had to run and do a bunch of deals with conservative news organizations. And so it's like, at the end of the day, none of these companies, even though they're like the LLMs are saying, we're going to give you the right answer, we're going to give you good quality information, they politically, it's poisonous for them to stand up and say, yes, we are going to pay for quality information and we are going to pick and choose, because they're just going to get targeted the way Meta did. And so I think that's going to be a real battle. Or maybe it won't be. Maybe they'll just, make sure that they're doing what Meta did, is like do big deals. They did a deal with New York Times. Well, we better go make sure we do a deal with Fox News. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. And so I would like to see, obviously, the high quality information in there. I think the negotiation should be happening. I think the reality is, there's no choice. I think you've got to have a way to get it in and into these models, because frankly, of the stuff that I track online, I already see a lot of shady people selling products saying that they can get your company ranked highly in LLMs. Like, that's already happening 100%. People are already trying to poison the results. People are already trying to inject into them. And if we don't find a way to get the good quality stuff in, it will get drowned out.
Amen. And I think that the other problem with the deals to date, I've said this on the show, is that it's mogul to mogul. It's OpenAI to Murdoch, and the vast ecosystem of news is left out. The diversity of voices, the pluralism of journalism is completely left out. And so that's why I have argued that we need to consider whether those organizations should come together to create an API for news. But that's not going to be popular either.
Craig Silverman is the king of disinformation, not making it,
Craig
detecting
Silverman
it.
is the king.
The kingdom of disinformation.
Expert. I regret the error. I'm sorry, Craig. Co-founder of Indicator.media. Go there now, read up. There's a free membership, but for $100 a year, you can also be a subscriber. And I think it seems like a very worthy thing to subscribe to. Craig, I really appreciate
$100 tithe.
Yeah, and I'm grateful to you for the work you do. It's so important.
For years,
it's a good fight.
For years.
Yeah.
Truly.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for that. Thank you to all of you to, having discussions where you can actually get into some detail on these things. It's much appreciated.
Many people don't know that Toronto was called the city of the broad shoulders because of the. No, I don't know why it was. No, it's not that. It's the big smoke. And I don't know why it's the big smoke, but it's
I don't either, actually. Yeah.
Is there a lot of smoke, and is it physically large?
I think there were a lot of factories at one time. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could call any city at a certain time the Big Smoke.
When we launched our show,
why is Toronto called the Big Smoke?
Oh, she'll know. And if she doesn't,
I will say this is the one thing that Claude doesn't have.
Smog.
Yeah. When we launched the Call for Help show in Toronto, the first episode, I got a whole bunch of synonyms for Toronto, and I said, live from the Big Smoke, the city, home of the Raptors. It's Call for Help, and that was kind of fun. But that's the only one I remember.
It was coined by, as we have the coiner of fake news here, was coined by Alan Fotheringham, who was a well-known journalist back in the day.
Very well known, yes.
All right. Craig, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks to Rosie, too, for joining us.
Rosie was it dinner time? Rosie went out of there.
I have to feed her right now, or she is going to come attack me. Yes.
She said, "Oh, you're doing a podcast. I thought it was CNN. Never mind."
There's a cat behind him holding a gun right now.
Never mind. Thanks, Craig. Take care.
Thank you, Craig. Good to see you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate it.
Take care. We'll have more on intelligent machines in just a moment after this word from our sponsor, Melissa. Melissa's the trusted data quality expert. They've been doing it longer than we have, since 1985. 41 years this year. Bad data is bad for business. It could be costing you. And Melissa is specialized in taking bad data and turning it into good, clean, accurate, peak quality data. And now they're doing it because they are data scientists with cutting edge AI. So they've got the expertise in the field, and they're using AI to make it even better. And this is what this means for your business. You get, of course, their bread and butter, which is address validation. Melissa can validate addresses globally in real time. I mean, fast, which reduces failed deliveries, keeps bad data from entering your database, whether it's through a customer service rep or your customers. They also can do, and this is very important, especially for finance and others, mobile identity verification. This cuts fraud by matching customers to mobile numbers. It also gives you a chance to use SMS to talk to customers where they are, how they want to be talked to. Melissa also can do change of address. This is cool. Automatically keeps customers connected when they move. Automatically. They also do AI-powered deduplication. On average, a database contains 8 to 10% duplicate records. I know my contact list is at least that. In fact, I wish I could get this from my contact list. Melissa's powerful match-up technology can identify even non-exact matching duplicate records and eliminate them, so you don't send multiple mailings to the same address. You have the right one and only true address. They also do customer data intelligence. You can use Melissa to enrich records with all kinds of information: demographic, geographic, psychographic, firmographic, property info. This way you get more intelligent targeting, better customer service. And the new Melissa Alert service monitors and automatically updates your customer data for moves, address changes, property transactions, hazard risks, and more automatically. I don't think I need to explain that clean data leads to better marketing ROI, to higher customer lifetime value, to AI that works as intended, right? If you're using AI for personalization or predictive analytics, garbage in means garbage out. Garbage data, bad results. Melissa makes sure your AI is learning from the real deal, the accurate information. When it comes to data, Melissa's got you covered. For example, eToro, the social investing platform, 23 million users globally. They use Melissa for identity verification. Their business analyst at El Toro said, quote, "We find electronic verification is the way to go because it makes the user's life easier. Users register faster and can start using our platform right away." Whether you're a small business just getting started or an enterprise managing millions of records, Melissa scales with you. Melissa has easy-to-use apps for Salesforce, Dynamics CRM, Shopify, Stripe, Microsoft Office, Google Docs, and everything else you use. Melissa's APIs integrate seamlessly into your existing workflows or custom builds. And Melissa's solutions and services protect your data like it's their own. They're GDPR and CCPA compliant, ISO 27001 certified. They meet SOC 2 and HIPAA high trust standards for information security management. Remember the name Melissa. In fact, get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free. Melissa.com/twit. MELISSA. Melissa.com/twit. Longtime sponsor of our shows. We thank them so much for their support. And you support us when you go to that address. Please do. Melissa.com/twit. Twit.
Paris, is your phone back?
Great question.
I was trying to
Yes,
convince.
but how long will it be back? That is my question. Probably not long.
I was trying to enlist everybody to send you a bunch of texts, so you got 100 texts when you came back online. But I guess we
See what
weren't
you
able
missed.
to.
Why did Paris say that? I don't know.
I was going to say, I
That's so
tried to
unlike her.
text you guys multiple times today, and it wouldn't go through, even when I was on Wi-Fi.
You know, it seemed awfully quiet in there in our group chat.
Yeah, it's not what you want.
So I'm glad to hear you say you like Claude. Claude.
I
Is
do
it just
love
because it has a
Claude.
French name, Claude?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy that. I like that I get to call it Claude,
Claude.
but I just think that I think it approaches the problems I set it, the tasks I give it, in a way intuitively that is more aligned with what I'm looking for than ChatGPT or Gemini. I actually just I had previously been subscribing to the Pro, or I guess the first paid tier for
$20
both
tier,
ChatGPT and Claude, but I recently just canceled ChatGPT because I wasn't using it.
I did the next best thing. I kept ChatGPT, but I upped my Claude subscription to the $250 a month.
Oh, does that
Claude
mean you
Max.
get access to Claude Cowork?
I get it all. Well, that was
have you
part of
tried?
the reason, because I'm on a Mac and I thought, well, I'll try Cowork. But honestly, I like the command line, which can do every single thing that all the other Claudes can do. But it to me, it feels a little bit more, as you said, more serious. I've been using it. So what happened was I was using it to configure my new laptop. And it was great. I could say, I would say things like, well, how do I get the fingerprint reader working? I said, oh, I can do that. Let me download some software. Here, just put your fingerprint. It walked me through it and it set it up. How do I get the buttons to turn the screen brighter? That's not seeming to work. Oh, yeah. Well, you need this app. So its expertise in a lot of technical areas was very useful.
Are you
That
giving
kinda-
it direct access to your machine?
You can
do
in
these
many
things?
ways. Yes, you can. And
Does
for
that
instance,
worry you?
No, because it's doing it at my command, and it
What
always
about a
asks
prompt
you.
injection attack?
Well, who's going to do that? I'm sitting on my computer. There's no one here to
Famous
inject
last
it.
words. Would Steve approve?
Well, I showed Steve. He didn't seem to mind it.
Oh,
In fact, what's interesting, we're going to have
Blessed.
Harper Reed on Sunday. No. Prompt injection comes when you're doing something in public. How would somebody prompt inject anything here? I'm using this at my,
Well, I
on my
mean,
machine.
aren't there just more areas for prompt injection attacks to occur if you're using something like Claude Cowork, or I assume Claude Code, where suddenly it has access to all the documents in your computer? If one of the things you downloaded has a prompt injection thing, then suddenly the amount of vectors for potential attacks expands.
Yeah, if you said, "Hey, I just downloaded this text file. Read it," and this is where people are doing it, or this document, like you might have a document you downloaded and you say, I don't want to analyze this. Just give me the bullet points. But it's been maliciously formed. It's a maliciously formed PDF that has hidden text in there that is a prompt. Yeah, that would happen. But I'm not doing that. I'm sitting here.
Every PDF he downloads is perfect.
I'm not having Claude analyze PDFs. I'm not having it do that kind of thing. I'm actually sitting here saying, configure this for me or do this for me. I mean, I guess there's some risk. It seems fine to me. In fact, one of the things I've been doing is asking Claude to do a security assay, find security flaws. And where it found them, I said, for instance, well, you have a text file in your root directory. It's not public, but that text file has your keys for the API and for your access to GitHub. You probably should encrypt those. You want me to do that for you? And I said, yes. And it runs PGP and encrypts them. And then it adds code to various things saying, okay, instead of getting it from a plain text file, you can, and it says, test this first, make sure it all works. Yes, I guess there's potentially, there's always going to be some trust, but I think the kinds of things I'm doing seem less likely to be vulnerable to.
Have you gotten access to ChatGPT Health yet?
Not yet. I did apply immediately, but I have not. I think you probably should always be careful, right?
Well, that's
I
what
would
Paris
agree.
has been trying to tell you, yes.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't use it. I think you should just look. There's plenty of,
Use it wisely. Yes.
as I said the other day, if you go to WebMD and ask it for advice, you probably shouldn't just say, oh, yeah, well, it must be true. It's on WebMD. If you go to Dr. Oz and ask for advice, you might want to. There's a lot of suspect places you can get advice that aren't AI. In fact, a lot of the suspect stuff in AI comes from websites that were full of BS to begin with.
Did you just ask about OpenAI Health or Claude Health, Paris?
I asked about OpenAI Health, but now
that's my next
Claude
question.
Health.
What about Claude Health? Have you gotten into that?
No.
I
assume that Claude Health is available only to the Mac subscribers. Is that correct?
Do I have access to
I have it in the rundown.
Health? I also asked Claude, could you set it up so that I could hit a key and talk to you instead of typing? And said, yeah, let me just set up a faster whisper dictate, and you just press the Copilot. It's great because it's on a Windows.
I will say the one thing that is a downgrade for me going from ChatGPT to Claude is not as many cool voices. I think you got one voice and it's classic.
Well, I'm not using the chatbot. It's all I'm typing. I'm not talking to it.
I'm just saying that's the one thing that Claude doesn't have. Just because I did enjoy whatever specific voice I picked out from the many from ChatGPT. I thought it was pretty good.
I don't chat. Chat is for the plebes. I
vocally.
Well, do you want me to show you the app that Claude wrote for me?
Is this your perfect app, the ideal app that you wanted?
This is one of the insights I had. So anyway, I was using it to configure. I thought, well, maybe I could do more with this. Maybe I need some more tokens. And you know what? The nice thing is it's $250 this month. If it's not useful, or I want to do, the nice thing is it's really a neck and neck horse race between a few different companies. If I want to do next month ChatGPT Max, I could do that. So you're not really locked in. It is a lot. Look, I admit it's a lot of money. But how much would you spend for custom software? And this is one of the things I realized is this is going to change software a little bit. I'm not writing programs for you to use. I'm not interested in that. I'm writing code. I'm writing programs for me to use that are tailored to my needs. So one of the things that I do all the time is I spend many hours a day going through news feeds, looking for stories for the show. You see them all in our rundown and every other show that I do, which involves going to a newsreader. I've tried a bunch of different newsreaders, or going to websites like TechMeme and scanning them and then bookmarking them in, I use raindrop.io. I thought, maybe I could speed this up with a simpler program that's tailored specifically to my needs. So a Sunday morning, I wrote this with Claude. I didn't write any code. Claude said, you want to do this? And I gave it Claude Code has a planning mode and a coding mode. You go into the planning mode and you say, hey, here's what I want to do. And so I gave it a list of features that I was looking for. I said, okay, do you want to do this in Python or Rust? I thought, well, let's do it in Rust. That's supposed to be a good language. I don't know any Rust. I know some Python. I don't know any Rust. So it wrote, by the way, this program as it stands now is 3,000 lines of Rust code. I posted on GitHub if people want to see it. It's on my GitHub account, Leo Laporte. But what you would probably do with it is download it, clone it, run Claude Code on it, and say, now I want to customize this for my needs. Here's a starting point, but I want to make this mine. So I called it Speedy Reader. By the way, I didn't call it Speedy Reader to begin with. I called it RSS Reader, but then I thought, I should give it a good name. And I said, Claude, can you change the name? And it said, yeah. So it just changes the name.
Whatever you want, boss.
Let me show you how speedy it is. Can you show my screen? Did you have my screen? Yeah. So I'll just run Speedy Reader. That's how fast it pops up. And this is downloaded. Now, first of all, I only care about articles from the last week because next week it'll be a new show.
Is this why we have a lot more articles in your part of the rundown today?
Yes.
Wait, so how did you, are you walking us through how you created this, or what does it, I guess
this is the program.
It does. Yeah. So how did
what
they
I
get
do,
in here?
How did I get here? What was the prompt?
How did they get in here? How do you send it to Speedy Reader?
Do you know how a feed reader works? You have RSS links, right?
Yes.
So all of these sources, 9to5 Google, /.Ars Technica, have RSS links. I have had for a long time a list of RSS links. They come in a standardized format called OPML. So I said, I want to download my OPML file, which I exported from my old feed reader, and import it here. So it said, okay, we'll import the, in fact, I've added, if you look at the help, I've added a way to import an OPML file as well as export my
You've got to
OPML
send this to Dave
file.
Weiner. You have to send this to Dave Weiner.
But this is very specific. For instance, it said, well, a lot of feed readers have ways to star articles and keep track of what you've read and haven't read. And I said, no. It put them in at first. I said, I don't want that. I don't need that. In fact, when I bookmark, I only want to bookmark to one place. So I'm just going to have B for bookmark. Let's bookmark this. And it says, and then I just want to enter a tag, I am, and hit return. And now it's bookmarked on Raindrop. The other thing that I had it do is, sometimes there's articles. This is the top, you see is feed content, but I want to know, I want more. Can you do an AI summary? So I'm using Haiku, which is the faster Claude model, not the high-end Opus model, to generate bullet-pointed summaries of the articles, which then I can use, save. It also gives me a better idea, and it's a very quick way for me to look at the article. The point is, this is very specific
Are you
to what
able
I do.
to then read the full article in this, or do you have to click the link? And
If I hit O, it will open a browser to it.
Oh, that's so cool. Wait, so do you have the prompts for setting this up? This just reminds me of Kevin Roos, frenemy of the pod, posted this week that he said, Claude Code is so good, I built a Pocket clone over the break
Yes,
and
I
kept
saw that.
adding new features.
Yes.
Text-to-speech read aloud, video summaries, spaced repetition emails,
Easy
Kindle
to
Sync,
do.
and now I have a perfect external brain. And he posted a version of it that I thought honestly was just a good way to go about this. I'll
See, but
put
I
the
have
link in the
no
chat,
interest in giving this to anybody else.
kevinroos.com/dash. But
Right.
that's just, I think it's cool. If you find something that's useful, you can just include the he at the
should give this to all your hosts.
website. I was going to say, give this to us at the very least. So Kevin at the beginning, at the bottom, has a install with Claude Code. If you have Claude Code, setup takes 2 minutes. Just paste this prompt, and he has like an 8-step prompt in there that you can then go through to get your own version of this. And I think
In fact, Claude wrote all of that for me as well. If I go to my repositories here, you can see I posted on GitHub. So it is available for anybody who wants to take a look at it. One of the things GitHub did, because I wrote it in Rust, is it made versions for Linux and Mac. So you can run it. You can download it. There are binaries on here you could download and run. But really, I don't think that's the point. I think the point is that people can now, without any coding skills, I guess you might have to be a little technical. This is going to change over time. Right.
This is what I was trying to ask last week.
Personal software that scratches your itch specifically.
But you can also create, it's a whole new software industry. You can create applications, agents, call them what you will, for other people. You can charge.
Yeah, I'm
for
less interested in that. I think the
you
real
may
power,
be, but I think there's opportunity.
some people, but I think the real power is everybody should learn how to do this and do it themselves. You could, by the way, I did this with the $20 version. It just would take time because maybe every few hours it would say, okay, you got to take a break till 2. but you could absolutely do this, not probably in the free version, but you could absolutely do this with the $20 version. I think that this is the future of software.
Yeah,
I remember
agree,
back in the early days of computing, George Morrow, who you remember I know you remember the Osborne, Jeff, which is a suitcase luggable
I had
computer.
one.
The Morrow was a clone of that. It was a
Yes.
suitcase luggable, and George Morrow was the guy behind it. Brilliant guy.
I had that too.
Oh, well, there you go. He said then, and we're talking, what, 1929? I don't know what it is, 1984? It was CP/M, so it wasn't Windows, so it would have been, early 80s. He said then, everybody should just write their own software, to which I laughed at because people don't have that capability. That's part of what this shift is to me. The AI shift is people can write their own software. What this really does is it fulfills the promise, the very early promise we were always looking for, of a human to computer interface that understood language. See, we speak in one language, computer speaks in a different language. There's some interface that allows us to tell our computer what we want, and it will do it. And it's always been kind of out there, the distant holy grail of computing. This brings it so much more immediate. And really now the sky's the limit. I can say, I can customize this. I'm thinking of all sorts of software
How many words in total did you use to prompt it? Did you guess?
If you do go to the GitHub, you can see the conversation. It's probably quite a few because I spent a couple of hours doing it on Sunday. It was a finished thing. And then over the last couple of days, see, this is the other thing. And this is what Mike Masnick was telling us. It's never done.
Yes.
I go, oh, you know what? For instance,
it ain't shrink wrapped anymore.
I realized, I don't really care how many read or unread articles there are. Just forget about read or unread. Assume if it's in there, I haven't read it because I'm going to delete it. So the main key I use is the delete is D. Just delete that. Nope, not going to look. I don't want to ever see that again. I've read it. So I changed that. On the left here, it used to have the headline, and then now I just have the date because really what I care about is, see, it's T for Tuesday. What I really care about is how old is this story? Because I don't want to do a story that's a week old. If I go to the bottom, this is last Wednesday, right? So these are last Wednesday's stories. So I want to know how old it is. So I've got the date and I've got the source. The headline is in the upper right. And then beneath it, I have the opportunity. I don't want to generate an AI summary every time, although I could change that, have it do it at night when I'm not around.
That uses more compute.
Yeah, that's all right. I got lots of compute. I spent a lot of money.
Hi, this is Leo. Real quick, Leo, on this. Like, I was wondering why the Leo's links document started to look different.
Yeah,
and this is probably it because
these are all going to.
This AI summary gets dropped in there too, so all the boxes get really big, and now it's a lot harder to parse.
Well, see, I can. Okay, that's true. I can change this. So what we have a way of. This is the raindrop that it goes to when I bookmark it. You see, I just bookmarked this one. And if I have a summary, it's going to put the bullet points in there. And you don't like that, Benito?
I don't like how it imports it into the document that I used to make the show document.
Yeah. So we're using Zapier to import that into a Google Sheet. I think ultimately the best way to do this would be to get the stakeholders together and saying, okay, this is what I want. This is how it's going to process it. Now, what do you need when I put this in the sheet and have it do that too?
Yep.
So I can control the whole chain. So right
Benito,
now,
did you have to clean up all these headlines?
No, I didn't have to clean it up. It just
the doc we're looking at.
I didn't have to clean it up. It's just that now I only see a couple of articles per screen. I can't see like 12 or 13. I only see like 6 now because the summary makes the box really big.
I can also stop putting that in. So
but I think now that you have this, we should get all the stakeholders together and figure out what the best way to do this is now. Because right now it's still a little, it's just pieced together still right now, right? But now that you have that app,
it's perfect on my end.
Yeah, exactly.
You understand? It's perfect on my end. But see, this is what it's generating is this spreadsheet, and you can see now that these boxes have more information because it's putting in.
Scroll down, see how it used to look.
Yeah, see that. But I thought you just ignored this column anyway. This is the summary column, the description column. But yeah, you pasted.
But you see how I only see 5 articles per screen now? Like 4 or 5?
What I could easily do, and I will do, is have Zapier not copy description. The next step I was also thinking, which I will do for you, Benito. The next step, by the way, Benito is so inspired by this. Tell them what you're thinking of doing.
I'm going to start vibe coding too. I'm going to vibe code some audio plugins because I wanted a specific reverb this weekend and I couldn't afford it. So I was like, maybe I'll just try to vibe code one. And it was surprisingly easy. So I'm going to start making more.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Cool.
And this is the thing is that Claude understands APIs or can download APIs and understand them. So there's a specific format for plugins called VSTs. You can tell Claude, okay, learn everything there is to know about VSTs and how to make them. Now you know that. I want to make a VST. And it will actually, there's an interactive part in the planning thing where it'll say, okay, well, what do you need? What do you want? How do you want me to do this? And there is some interactivity. You can even go back to Claude, as I have several times, and said, what do you think? For instance, if you see when I generate a summary, there's a hang for a few seconds. I said, hey, could you put? Actually, I said, could you put a little rotating newspaper or something, some way of letting me know? So what it said, well, no, I'll put this little braille rotator in there. That's more standard. So I put the little rotator in there. It's cute. And I said, well, you know what I want you to do? I want you to go through the entire code base and look for anything that might happen, like a refresh feed that will make this unresponsive. and put up one of those little rotators anywhere that happens, and some information like you're doing something, so I know that I haven't lost access to the computer. These are little things that's easy to do, and Claude has lots of experience of how others have done it. In fact, when I said do a newsreader, it knew what a newsreader should look like. I actually had to tell it, no, I don't want that. I don't need to star anything. I'm going to either bookmark it or delete it. That's all I want. And it removed that stuff. So it has some understanding of what's kind of typical. And then you customize it from there.
Could they put it straight in the spreadsheet?
Well, that's Zapier does that. But I could, yes. So the next step is perhaps to eliminate Zapier, although Zapier does it it would be easy right now for me to say to Zapier, hey, just don't copy that big fat field. Benito doesn't want it. Ultimately, what I think I will do for you guys and the others is make a briefing book. So what I can also do is say, okay, now go through all of the stories that I have bookmarked for the week of January 14th and create a bulleted list of the headlines, a briefing book. And this is the thing I'm really interested in, because as you know, we all bookmark far more stories than we are ever going to get to, especially when Leo talks on and on about Claude.
Yeah, whose fault is that?
What would be really interesting, and I don't know how well it works, is to say to Claude, okay, what are the most important ones?
But you see, you never go with important. You go with the things that spark your
It probably
conversation.
won't do a good job, unless maybe after I could say, hey, note what I've picked in the past. Could you learn what my... I wonder. I mean, I think
you could ask which ones might spark the most interesting conversations.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Let me ask you a question, Leo, if I may. So there's a company like Cursor out there that got a lot of attention.
Yeah.
That is there to also code in AI. How does that fit? Where do these things fit? Where does Claude Code versus Cursor fit?
So Cursor will use Claude, but it's what we call an integrated development environment, an IDE. It's an editor. So the way this evolved is initially like Copilot on GitHub is you'd be in an editor, you'd start typing something, and it would complete what you were typing. It would save you typing. That was called IntelliSense. That was the first step. Then later, Copilot, you could say, hey, I'm sitting in my editor. Could you write the next block? Could you write some code that would just scale everything by 20%? And then it would propose code, which you could then include in the editor, or you would even enter it into the editor, just like IntelliSense. It would auto-complete that. And that's what a lot of people are still doing. That's kind of what my understanding of how Cursor works, Anti-Gravity from Google. Those are editors where the AI is in the editor and inserting stuff. This is not like that. I mean, I can do that. I can do that in my Emacs, which is the code editor I use. But I kind of prefer this. This is not I'm not doing any coding. I'm just
Are you editing any of the code? Did you change any of the raw code?
I don't know Rust.
Not a line.
No. It's 3,000 lines of code. I don't even understand. But I don't need to understand it. Remember, that's another reason why I don't want to ship this. I'm taking the entire risk myself. I don't have to write a EULA that says, I make no warranty about the appropriateness of this software. If it doesn't work, it's not on me. Should I show you what it looks like? Let me see. What would be a feature? Let me see, do this. Can you add a clock that tells me how long I've been using Speedy Reader? Maybe I'm worried I'm spending too much time in Speedy Reader.
Maybe you're not being speedy enough.
Maybe I'm not being speedy enough. So now it's thinking. You can keep it on here for a little bit, Benito, just so people can see what it looks like. Again, this isn't an editor. So it's looking at the code. That's the code right there. That's part of the code. It's looking for a place to put this request. It's actually reading the code. I didn't develop it on this computer. I asked this computer to catch up. I developed it on a different computer. So I said, hey, Claude, catch up. Okay, so yeah, it's found somewhere to put it.
Claude says, hey, Leo, mustard.
Oh, ketchup. Aren't you glad I didn't say orange?
So it's showing you where it's adding the lines.
Yeah, so it does show you the code, and the green is added. If it's deleting something, it'll be highlighted in red. Adding elapsed time formatting method. So this is code it's adding. I know enough coding. I know I can look at this and know what it's doing. I mean, Rust isn't.
Yeah, no, but you didn't feel any compulsion to go and
no, I wouldn't want to. I'd probably break it. That's another thing. People often say, "Well, what about the security concerns?" I think there's a reds thing, so it's deleting that to replace it with something else. So I think it's much less likely to make the kind of boneheaded errors coders often make because we're lazy or we're not paying attention or whatever. I think it doesn't get tired. It's much less likely to make those errors. And as it gets better and better, it's going to know more and more of the kinds of errors. Okay, done. The session timer now appears in the bottom right corner. Timer starts when you launch the app. Let's see. Should we see if it did it? Let me exit out. I don't know if it put it in the new one. No, it didn't. Let's see. Let me ask it how I can get it in the. Can you build this version so I can call it by name? So it has to compile it, I think. No, it compiled it. All right.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So you know what I want?
I think that it should make the timer, if you get to a certain point, it turns red and there's like a little frowny
Easy to
face
do.
that emerge.
This is the iterative process, which is so interesting. I can then say, yeah, what I really want to know is not just how long I've been in this session, but how long I've been doing this all week, for instance. And then
this is my dumb question, but for the sake of us dumb people out here, are you running this in Linux on your laptop?
It's running on a Mac right now.
This is an executable, or Mac. This is an executable.
Yes, it's an executable for Mac or Linux. In fact, if you go to the GitHub, you can download it and run it.
Got it. You know what?
There's a few things you need to know how to do, like you have to import the OPML and stuff, but I've tried to make that fairly straightforward. It's all documented on the GitHub.
You want to be nice to me? You know what I want?
Yeah.
I want a version of this to go to arxiv.org and look at all of the last week's
great. Now I'm in the business of writing code.
And find the ones that are relevant to a discussion about media and that are interesting for discussion.
Okay. I could probably do that. But why don't you do it? I bet you could do it, Jeff.
If you gave me the base,
this is the thing.
I could revise it.
This is the important thing. It empowers people, even people who are not coders, people like Jeff, to create custom software for themselves that does exactly what they want. And you can refine it and get it better. And I think that you shouldn't feel like you can't do this. Is, I guess, my point.
Yeah, I just got to find the time to.
It doesn't take that much time. I was doing other things. I was watching a football game.
So Darren Oki is telling me what to do in the Discord, saying go to google.opal.
Well, one of the things that's interesting is Trust No One saying you can do this with N8N, but I think N8N, which is that node-based editor that lets you hook stuff up, is actually obsoleted by this. I think you can write code directly that does it. I think a lot of this is the other thing that's changing so rapidly. On Christmas Day, Andrei Karpathy, did we mention this last week? I might have tweeted, I can't keep up. This is a guy who created the term vibe coding. He says, it's happening too fast. There's too many tools. I can't keep up. And that's what's really interesting. This is exploding. A lot of the new features in Claude Code that have been released in the last 2 weeks have been written by Claude Code. Now that's important,
interesting,
because that means now this stuff is going to happen faster and faster and faster and faster.
Well, it takes away it's the end of it's the expansion of coding and the end of coding.
We've always said this, once AI starts to improve itself, it eliminates the human in the loop. There's no limit.
No, you're still in the loop because you're deciding what is right for you.
I don't have to be
the customer.
Loop. Did I tell you about Ralph Wiggums?
What?
Is that the name of a cat?
So
it would be a good name for a cat, I think.
So okay, there's a tool called Ralph Wiggums, and I'm going to say use Ralph So this was coded originally by a third party. And then Anthropic said, oh, this is really good. Use Ralph Wiggum's. What Ralph Wiggum's does is it makes it a little bit more autonomous. Use it for what? What you do is
I'm not sure what you mean.
You say, we fail English. That's impossible. I'm in danger. What Ralph Wiggum's plugin does is you can give it a constraint like, I want you to keep doing this until there are no more errors. And then you can also, the constraint can also be, but only do it 20 times because I don't want you to use up all my credits. And it will go out and continue to work. And this is the beginning. This is what people are starting to do now. And you'll see people talking about this. I let Claude go for 3 days, or I let it go for an hour, and it wrote this splat game. You can give it these constraints, and it will start to do stuff. So Ralph Wiggum's is really interesting. I didn't invoke it properly. But because you can say, hey, Ralph, keep working on this until the spinner gives you no errors.
A bash loop is what Reddit is telling me.
Yeah. Well, okay. So this is the other thing. Yeah, bash is just a shell programming language. It's a shell script. You can write this stuff in anything. That's what's also really interesting. It's very agnostic about languages. The real thing is this is a human to machine interface that uses English, which we happen to be pretty good at. But computers have been terrible at understanding.
Interesting.
Anyway,
Yeah, all interesting.
that's my show and tell.
Yes.
Yeah, Ralph Wiggum. While not finished, send prompt to Claude. It loops it until you get to and you have to tell it what the completion criterion is.
But I still want to go back. You're still the customer. You're still the human who wants to use this, and you will decide when it's done. You will decide whether it's good enough, whether it does what you want it to do.
It's never done.
A loop.
Just like Mac Masnick said, he's continuing to work on his time management program. Probably every day he says, yeah, I don't like that. Can you make it blue?
I'm often saying that.
Well, I think you both, as an experiment, should play with this a little bit. It maybe seems imposing if you're not comfortable with a command line or a coder, but honestly, I think it's very doable. If you want, Jeff, we can do this. Send me a paragraph of what you want.
Oh,
and
okay.
I will.
We could do a
Claude
club twit where we all vibe code together.
We could actually. We've done that already.
I think it might take 24 hours to do that, Paris. We
it could. We might need to do a full live.
Did you see how fast it wrote that little timer for me? I mean, it's just.
Did you see how fast Claude made a game where I could hit you with a tomato last week?
Exactly.
It was
not
like
a very
2.5 minutes. It was not very
good game.
Did you show any friends the game?
And Darren wants me to show you Google's Opal, because you could also do this. This is something that's less intimidating and less capable, but somewhat similar.
Yes, but you have to give it access to your entire Google Drive, which I don't like.
Oh, I haven't tried it. Is that really
true? It's already Google.
Okay.
Google already has all my stuff.
I just don't like when I have to connect something to my entire Google Drive. You have to give it permissions. That's not what I want.
You need to burn a Google account for that kind of stuff.
I know. That's what I got to do.
All right. So Opal, Darren says, is not less capable. So that's good.
Take that, Leo.
So
Darren knows.
He's a big fan. Build and share mini AI apps using natural language. All right, fine.
So you can share them, which is what I've wanted to do. Yes.
Yeah, maybe Jeff, you should start here just to see. Create a weather-specific outfit for a specific. And you see, it's. Well, I'll zoom in on this, but it's not. This is a nodal compositor is what it is. And so you create nodes, and I could insert something in here and so forth. And these are just prompts.
Does it run on Opal? If I want to share it with Paris, does it run there?
So this makes web apps. It actually wants you to make web apps.
The web apps.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted.
Right.
Thank you, Darren.
So let's start with the weather. So
Do you think it will work on a workplace account, Jeff?
I don't know. When it comes to your wardrobe, do you identify as male, female, or non-binary? Let's do this for Paris. So female. Okay. Getting weather report. It's going to generate a nice outfit for you. I didn't answer all the questions, so maybe it won't be perfect.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. Give me a...
By the way, Trust No One says it will work with your workspace account, Jeff.
Ooh.
This is good for
It
today's
wants
weather.
to see
Cloudy.
and download all my Google Drive files. It wants to see, edit, create, and delete only specific Google Drive files you use in this app.
This is why we got to get a burner.
It wants to view, query, edit, and manage the content you uploaded to the generative language API semantic retriever, whatever the hell that is. Learn more.
Okay. What's the occasion for this outfit, Paris?
Let's say going
visit?
out for drinks tomorrow night. I think that's actually a good one because I think it's supposed to be very cold tomorrow night. If I recall correctly, I think we're getting a...
Why don't you have it going out for drinks depending
What
on
else
the weather in
defines
New
your
York tomorrow?
style?
Tell it to look up the weather in New York tomorrow.
Oh, and I would say, nihilist goth, right?
Yeah, nihilist, a little goth alt, but also kind of colorful.
And glam. Some glam.
Yeah.
in there. Yeah.
Some glam. We'll really confuse it. I think, I had, while I was doing all this, I was getting Claude to put together a briefing report for us based on this rundown. And so I'll put it together for you guys.
Cool.
You're using someone else's app here, right, Larry? You're not making a stylist app here.
This is their app. Yeah, this is their demo app. Let's start with the weather. Oh,
I actually tried Opal first for vibe coding because it was free, but they only make executables, so I couldn't make plugins.
yeah. I think you really wanted Claude Code is really
Claude Code's
amazing.
fine.
Yeah. Going.
Yeah, but for dummies like me, but
Hey, I've never coded
my-
a line in my
my-
life. I've never coded a line in my life.
entry drug. Yeah, you're still younger and more courageous than I am. Young man.
How interesting. We're all coders now.
No, we're all developers now. Claude's doing the
There
coding.
are no coders.
I guess that's true.
What excites me is that this is the notion of something super hyper personalized.
Mm-hmm.
That it is finally the holy grail of computing, which is that I control my computer. By the way, I'm kind of soured on both Windows and Macintosh because they are so opinionated about what you should and shouldn't be able to do with your computer. That's one of the reasons I went to Linux. Oh, this looks good. I think Paris. This is Midnight Muse.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be Emerald
What do we got going
Allure,
on here? Let's see.
black faux leather trench coat,
kind of nice.
That is.
black velvet long sleeve top,
Bag matches your
high-waisted black
glasses.
coat. Is, chunky
does.
black platform combat
I do
boots.
have those.
And here's a little bit of color: emerald green velvet crossbody bag. You have vibrant.
Now I need
pop
so
of color.
many of
Color.
these.
And
Ox
then-
blood lipstick.
You want the ophthalmic.
I keep trying to text you guys my Claude briefing, but I no longer have the ability to send and receive SMSs. So
You can put it in Discord.
Are you still? Is
suppose.
Ryzen still not?
it was up for maybe like 5 minutes, but then it went back down. I guess I'll put it in Discord.
I do have a question, though,
I don't.
Leo. If you decide to sell this app, who owns it?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so Claude has no
But you
say.
can't-
Claude has no. Okay.
No.
Well, here's the
posted
other,
on-
but can you copyright it?
Sure, why not?
Products of AI, as of now, can't be copyrighted.
Oh, yeah, but the human part is. So because a human was involved. So that was the thing, is that the solely AI, yes. But if a human has created it with the help of AI or not, it's copyrightable.
Here's what Claude thinks are the main themes of this week. The AI industry is experiencing a simultaneous trust crisis and power consolidation moment, says Claude. 3 parallel storylines dominate. Grok's deepfake disaster demonstrates what happens when
Yes.
safety guardrails are removed.
Yes.
Apple's surrender to Google reveals that even trillion-dollar companies can't build
Yes.
frontier AI alone.
Yes.
And healthcare AI's gold rush shows all 3 major AI labs racing into the highest stakes domain.
a little
Meanwhile,
too
the
slick,
financial
Claude.
viability of the entire AI sector faces unprecedented scrutiny. I mean, it's fine.
That's pretty good. I mean, those are the 3 top stories I've been talking about, for sure.
Yeah, it is a little slick, Jeff. You're right.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I don't like its prose. I never do like the prose. That's why I asked it for the summaries to be bullet pointed, for instance, is I just the facts, man. Anyway, I've talked way too long about this. Let's get to some other stories in just a moment. This is intelligent machines. Actually, Darren, would you find out? He says, do you own the code? Can you take it with you? Darren says, that's a really good question. So let's put the club to work. Ask all your AIs, who owns this code that I wrote? I believe I do, because it prompted it, no, I know I do. Of course I do. Anyway, we'll move on.
I don't know. Is there something in the Claude Code EULA that says like, we own all the code that comes out of here?
Well, look, I'm very surprised if it does. I mean, the intent of this is to have people write software. That's why you pay $250 a month.
Yes, but who gets the money?
For the software, if I sell it? Okay, I will check, but I'd be shocked if it... okay. Darren says, you own the code Claude Code was making, but when you talk about Bolt or Opal and their hosting of it, that's another question. Yeah, they have to host it, so it's not exactly yours. That's interesting.
So now I've got to figure out how to make an RSS feed from the archive.org API.
I love it when AIs apologize. Paris, go ahead and tell us what
I said. Jeff to Claude. Jeff thinks your prose is, quote, a little too slick. How do you feel about that? I enjoyed it because then it has like the thinking, and whenever it was doing the thinking, you saw one saying, weighing my immediate negative response as potentially defensive. And I was like, what are you doing, Claude? He says, it says, honestly, he's probably right. There's a certain AI-generated sheen that creeps in.
Right
the alliterative
there,
headers,
that's fancy writing.
right. That the tidy parallel structures, the way everything gets packaged in neat thematic buckets with connecting threads. It reads like it was written by someone who's read a lot of good writing but hasn't actually lived through a 3 a.m. deadline fueled by bad coffee and spite. Now it's trying to be too cute. The
briefing format kind of invites it too. So it's defensive.
Yeah.
It's true.
When you try to synthesize a dozen major stories into a scannable sections, the temptation is to make everything feel equally weighted and polished. This is a good lesson for editors.
It's,
If it's useful feedback, I could lean harder into the places where the stories are genuinely messy, or where the through lines don't actually connect as cleanly as I made them sound.
Would it be more endearing if they had typos?
Lawrence did some research.
It would be upsetting.
Yes.
He says, Anthropic's consumer terms state, subject to your compliance with our terms, we assign to you all of our right, title, and interest, if any, in outputs. You own the code. The commercial terms are more explicit. Customer owns all outputs, and Anthropic assigns to customer its right, title, and interest, if any, in and to outputs. And Anthropic will not train their model on your inputs or outputs under commercial terms. But Claude itself says there is uncertainty in copyright law. It requires human authorship. This is what we were talking about.
Yes.
But that means if it's purely generated by AI, when you modify or integrate or substantially contribute to AI-generated code, you strengthen your ownership claim through your human authorship. I think I can make a strong claim that I authored this program with the help of Claude, but that doesn't give Claude the rights to it.
Got to wait for the eventual court case.
I was going to take a break.
There will be a court case about this.
There
at
will,
some point.
of course.
Yeah.
Another reason why I have no desire to sell this, but I'd be glad to write you your little program, Jeff. So just send me a paragraph of what you want. That's all.
All right, I'll go to Opal and try it as well.
Okay, but
does it have to be can it go to the website and do a search and execute that? And then,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't need an RSS feed.
Oh no, that's just what I was writing. This absolutely does not have to be RSS. In fact, there is, as we talked about last week, a Chrome plugin for Claude Code that it can invoke Chrome and do anything a web browser can do.
Ooh. Can I do this? Can I use the address of your GitHub and say, go look at Leo's application?
Yes.
I like it. I want you to modify it to do this.
Yes. In fact, right there on the GitHub, there's an explanation of how to do that. That's because I've made that repository public. GitHub does allow you to make private repositories. But because I've made it public, anybody can look at it and download it and fork it. It's MIT licensed. It's a open source license. By the way, interestingly, it didn't ask me, and I didn't specify a license. It just chose that, which is a good license. I'm happy with it. It's a very interesting. Our show today brought to you by Zscaler, the world's largest cloud security platform. The potential rewards of AI, as you can see, are very, interesting. And certainly as a business, you really cannot ignore AI in your business. But there are risks too, right? You can't ignore those, like the loss of sensitive data, attacks against enterprise managed AI. And let's not forget, generative AI, just as it's a boon for you, is a boon for threat actors, helping them to rapidly create phishing lures and write malicious code and automate data extraction. Did you know last year there were 1.3 million instances of social security numbers leaked to AI applications? ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot alone saw nearly 3.2 million data violations. I think a lot of businesses realize it's time to rethink our safe use of public and private AI. And that's why you want to check out Zscaler. Listen to what Siva, who's the Director of Security and Infrastructure at Zuora, says about using Zscaler to prevent AI attacks.
With Zscaler being in line in a security protection strategy, helps us monitor all the traffic. So even if a bad actor were to use AI, because we have a tight security framework around our endpoint, helps us proactively prevent that activity from happening. AI is tremendous in terms of its opportunities, but it also brings in challenges. We're confident that Zscaler is going to help us ensure that we're not slowed down by security challenges, but continue to take advantage of all the advancements.
With Zscaler Zero Trust plus AI, you can safely adopt Gen AI and private AI to boost productivity across the business. Their Zero Trust architecture plus AI helps you reduce the risks of AI-related data loss and protects against AI attacks to guarantee greater productivity and compliance. To learn more, go to zscaler.com/security. That's zscaler.com/security. And we thank them so much for supporting intelligent machines. Jeff and Paris, I'm sorry I monopolized the conversation.
No,
I'm a little bit,
well,
I'm very excited about what's happening with AI. I think this year, a lot of doubters are going to have to eat their words. I think things are happening very rapidly now. Very rapidly. Some good, some bad. I mean, there's the Grok, the whole Grok thing.
Well, that's anything that he touches is bad. So
yeah, as who was it said that? That's an Elon problem, not an AI problem. Grok's solution was, well, if you have a paid account, you can generate sexual imagery.
Hey, I guess he said it.
Well, didn't OpenAI at one point say they were going to do the same thing? If you had a paid account,
they were going to do erotica for adults if you were provably an adult. And by the way, I've noticed, who was it? I think it was Anthropic said, maybe it was Apple. Somebody said we were going to verify your age before. It was when I was using it either. It
was when you were trying to generate all that erotica. It was like,
oh yeah, of course.
We've got to get.
Tell me a dirty story, Claude. No, I think I was using Claude on the iPhone, and it said we got to verify your age. Apple has my age. This is something Steve's always been talking about. He said, the platforms, Android and iOS, know your age in many cases. They could easily be, and they have an API. In fact, that's what whoever it was, Anthropic or OpenAI, were using. They said, which age group are you in? That's the Apple API. You don't say your specific age, just which age group you're in before they allow you to use it, period. I think they're very concerned about minors using it.
Yeah.
Indonesia and Malaysia blocked Grok. I think I mentioned that. UK's considering it. By the way, as a result, Elon is on a rampage against the UK on X today. I wonder why. As your analysis, your clever analysis pointed out, Paris, one of the big stories this week is Apple has announced that, yes, we are going to use Gemini from Google. We're going to pay him $1 billion a year, and it will be the foundation model for Siri and Apple Intelligence. But we're going to take their model, we're going to copy it from their server to our servers, and we're going to run it in our own private Apple cloud. So no information will go back to Google. Just the money.
I do like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think it's what people want. I really do. We mentioned Claude Cowork. I think that's less of a story than people have been making of it. It allows you. So the big thing, one of the examples they've used is, see, normies can use it. You have to have a Mac and you have to have a paid Claude account, but a $20 account will count. Normies are using it to do things like, see all those icons on my desktop? Could you put them in folders and organize them? Stuff
Okay,
like.
do you really need an AI to do that for you? Just organize your folders, people.
If it were so easy, I wouldn't have all those icons on my desktop. So
You just need to set it so that your screenshots save in a folder called screenshots, and then bada bing, bada boom, you're good.
summarize my meetings from this week. Find action items. I think that's pretty good. Basically, the idea, this is just what Copilot was doing from Microsoft, what Apple Intelligence will probably do once Gemini is transplanted. This is what these companies think people want, which is kind of like a little assistant, right?
They do want a little guy who'll help them with their work, and that is nice.
Yeah. So it's worth a try. That's why initially I paid for the high-end Claude, because you can't do it with the. I don't think you can do it with the $20 one. I can't remember. I remember I had to buy an expensive one, but then I thought, well, I can use Claude more. Here's their example. You saw this, obviously. Look at all those icons. What a mess. Organize my desktop. That's quite a cluttered desktop. I see you have a mix of project folders, screenshots, photos, video files.
This person has deeper problems than a desktop.
I have seen many, many, many desktops like this. This is very common.
I've seen much worse.
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh my God.
No, I can't find anything.
You didn't even just do the right click organize the thing first. Like that you can just do that.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not as well as that.
You're all being
because
so
it knows what the
judgmental.
contents are. Yeah. You should also be aware, it says, of the risks of prompt injections.
Yep.
Attempts by attackers to alter Claude's plans through content it might encounter on the internet. We've built sophisticated defenses against prompt injections, but agent safety is still an active area of development in this industry. Hint, hint.
Not our fault.
We recommend taking precautions, particularly while you learn how it works. Well, there are going to be new attack vectors. There are. It's absolutely true. Have you seen, I'm sure you have, Paris, because it was on Reddit, all the videos of the new driverless delivery vans in China?
I have not.
They have become a total meme. They plow through crumbling roads. They're relentless.
Oh my God.
They refuse to stop for anything.
There's also the videos of the walking robots, the humanoid robots attacking people on the street.
Really? Now that's
just like running.
Watch out! Don't go in the cement. Did you see he was waving his shovel trying to stop it? And now this truck driver is getting out. He's saying he's going to kick it. Get going. This one has a motorcycle attached to the wheels.
Luckily, there was no
gosh.
blood trailing behind.
Yeah, well, you got to wonder what happened to the driver.
Behind, yeah.
Yeah, I thought, I enjoy these robots gone wrong videos. So. Meta has decided it's not the metaverse. They've laid off a bunch of people in the metaverse division of Meta.
People.
And they say, you can work on AI. I wonder if Apple's going to do the same. Apple continues to double down on the Vision Pro. Meta's Reality Labs, according to Engadget, has lost more than $70 billion in the last 4 years, 5 years. $70 billion. They've in fact, Meta's actively trying to change the narrative on this. They made sure people knew that they had ordered a doubling of the Luxottica Ray-Ban display Meta glasses. But a number of pundits have said, Yeah, we don't think they're actually selling them.
Oh.
There isn't really a market for them. Every sales figure people can find shows it's not selling all that well. But if you ordered a double the production, that becomes the story, right? And I think that maybe the more telling story is that they're laying off so many people from the reality labs.
I mean, at some point, even though Zuckerberg, I was just looking up, he controls near total voting control over Meta through dual class structure.
Oh, yeah. He was very smart about that.
10 votes per share of Class B, giving him around 60% of total votes.
So if you're a Meta stockholder, you have 1 vote for every 10 that Mark Zuckerberg has.
But still, I wonder when there's going to be activist investors who come in and say, enough of this Meta crap.
I mean, Meta is closing down 3 VR studios as part of its latest round of Meta cuts. They're doing layoffs in the Metaverse team. I don't know what the activist investors would be pushing for outside of that. I mean, they're already clearly being like, yeah, the whole Meta thing was pretty dumb.
Well, they should have done it 2 years ago.
Speaking of dumb, you can watch while I cut up my American Express card. Because on Monday, while I was Claude coding,
did you just show the card number to everybody?
You can see the number because it's no longer good. Because Monday I got a text from T-Mobile saying, "Hey, Leo, you got 28,000 points that are going to expire."
You did?
I said, "Click this link to see what your rewards could be. They're going to expire tonight."
Leo,
I said I was
this is your
dumb.
job.
I know. I've never been bit by this before. The closest I came.
I saw someone added us on like Blue Sky being like, never submit any of your information to a random link you get texted. And I'm like, do they
go to the
idiots?
site?
What's
go to
going
the site,
on?
right?
My reserves were down, I guess. It was early morning. Part of it, I blame T-Mobile a little bit because T-Mobile continually sends me legitimate promotional text messages.
And you can't turn it off?
Well, but the point is, I
wanted to know about his points.
The point is, I was not surprised to get this message from T-Mobile because they keep saying, "Oh, it's T-Mobile Tuesday. You're gonna get a free hamburger." So I thought, "Oh, this is another, one of those fine benefits from being a T-Mobile subscriber," which I am. I'm saying this. I know it makes me look stupid. I'm saying it to everybody to know this could happen to anybody, okay? Because you're right, I should have known better.
I think we need a public interest ad made by AI as a hook, a fish hook in Leo's mouth.
Oh, it gets worse. Listen.
Oh, no.
Listen to all the red flags.
Oh, no.
So the link is to tmobile.luosa.cc. That must be their fulfillment. So I clicked the link. Very nice.
God.
T-Mobile.
No.
I'm on my phone. T-Mobile page. It says, "Oh, hey, you can get some Sony headphones. You can get an iPad. You can get or travel discounts. Would you like to use the travel discounts?" I said, "No, you know what? I don't need headphones, but I could give those as a gift. So let me get the Sony headphones." I said, "Great. Here's the shipping fees. But we recommend the 99-cent one because you'll get it in 5 days." I said, "Good, but we need a credit card for the 99 cents." I said, "That's fine. That's fine." So I entered the credit card, and there was a long delay, and that should have been like while the hacker goes, "Oh, we got a live one," and then it says, "Okay, we're going to send you a text." I got a text message, and this is the other thing. So I used my Apple card first. Actually, that one failed, so I said, "Oh, well, let me use a different one." So I put my Visa in. And it spin, and then it said, here's a text message. And it said, the Visa text message was a little weird. It said, "To add your Visa to the Apple wallet, enter this code."
Oh, no, Leo.
Which I realized in hindsight, the bad guys were smart because what they're doing is instead of using these credit cards directly, they're adding them to an Apple wallet. So it's invisible to the merchant, right? The merchant doesn't get the information about the credit card. So it's a good way of staying anonymous when you're using this stolen credit card. But then, weirdly, there was a long delay. I kept refreshing the page. It said, "Stay on this page till it's done." And it didn't work either. So I thought, well, I'll try one more. I'll do the American Express card. It was the business card.
Oh, you did another one?
Jeez.
So, and then finally I went,
when did the gulp come?
"Wait a minute." When it said, "Oh, that didn't work either," I said, "Wait a minute." I must have been groggy. I don't know. I have no excuse. I have canceled all 3 of those cards. Now, here's the nice thing. The Apple Card, you just say that number, give me a new one. So it just invalidated immediately. Lisa shouts down the stairwell about an hour later saying, "Did you just try to charge something at Lowe's for $500?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, American Express blocked it." I said, "Well, I hope so, because I froze the card." So they within an hour, they tried to use it. I've canceled all 3 cards. That's why you saw me cutting that up. I know, it's embarrassing.
It could happen to any of us, Leo. It could.
Well, that's
That's
why
rough.
I'm bringing it up, just to remind you it can happen. It's easy.
I feel like I am so
Impervious?
far in the opposite way that it's like it is a impediment to my daily life. Like I have had issues where I get a
skeptical.
legit text from Bank of America being like, "Your credit card's been compromised. Like, please click here to verify
you?
a transaction." And it definitely wasn't me. They were correctly texting me, and I will call Bank of America from a different number I have saved and being like, "I'm clearly someone's trying to hack me." And they're like, no. Someone did take your credit card, but that message was real.
Yeah. Obviously I knew better. This is every possible red flag. I've been telling people for 20 years not to do this. Somebody's asking, didn't you use your sponsor, privacy.com? If I wanted to take the time, I could have generated a one-time only card. Yeah, but I didn't.
He was too much in a rush to get
It was only
something
99
free.
cents. I want those headphones. They're free. And it was going to expire tonight. I didn't want to lose those points.
You could never lose those points.
Did you actually look at the T-Mobile site to see how many points you do have?
Yeah, well, after all of this, I went to the T-Mobile site. They don't offer points. My mistake was doing that after I gave them 3 credit card numbers.
Oh, that's perfect.
Was there ever any moment between credit card 1 and 2 and credit card 2 and 3 where you were like,
No, the thing was
Maybe-
hitting me on the head saying, don't do this. It was spinning. It was slow. It didn't work. There was every reason to go, oh, yeah, this is bogus. Luosa.cc?
right there,
I have
there.
no excuse. I must
You
have
know
been
what?
stoned. I don't know what was going
that
on.
seems like a link that's generated by a website that I'm going to cannibalize from my picks of the week called creepylink.com.
It sounds
which
like
we can
it,
all go
doesn't
to
it?
right now. It's a website that's kind of a URL shortener, or in some ways a URL lengthener, that it will make any link look absolutely creepy and like it's going to give you a virus. For instance, I'll put in twit.tv here into creepylink.com, and it's given me google.clic.link. A bunch of string of text
Yeah.
_free money dot
Yeah,
BAC.
exactly. No, if I'd seen
That's
a lot of
beautiful.
numbers and stuff, I might have. There are certainly. I would have. I don't know. I don't know what I would have done. It was like 7:30 in the morning. I wasn't fully awake. I don't know how that happened. By the way, I'm going to click that link. Is there free money there?
There is free money, and it's going to give you something.
Oh, did you see what? Hey, look at that. It's pretty good. Discord said. Did you see what you do when you click it on Discord?
What does it say?
Dangerous download with the purple guy says. No, Leo.
Don't do it.
Don't do
it.
It certainly does make your links look as suspicious as possible.
Yeah.
If you're in a buying mood, though, Scooter X put up a link to a hands-on with a new bee. Now that it's in Amazon hands.
Yeah, big deal, right? They were showing it at
BEZOS.
they were showing it at CES. In fact, we had Jennifer Pattison Tui on, and she actually is wearing one now. I was tempted. It's funny because I already gave my bee away to my hairdresser because I wanted her to record all those personal conversations she has every day with her clients. She couldn't get it working on Android. I probably should have kept it, but I didn't.
I love that you're like, this is a security risk for me to have, and it's a bad
gonna give it
product,
to
and I don't
you.
want. I'm going to give it to you, someone who knows a lot less about
I had
this.
told her that I was wearing. I showed her and talked about it, and she said, "Oh, that's cool. I want that."
I want to be
did
able
say
to
to my
record
salon.
all of these.
So that week, instead of tipping her, I just gave her the bee.
You
No,
whore.
I still tipped her.
I said my salon should do a reality show.
I
mean,
go to a
more
barber
salons
shop. I
should.
just want to tell you, I go to a barber shop where they offer you tequila when you walk in the
no.
door.
Not even whiskey? Tequila feels
they have
crazy.
Whiskey. They have whiskey, but oh yeah, I mean
Are they giving you just like a shot, or are you just getting straight tequila in a glass like it's whiskey?
They were doing shots. Yeah.
Okay, that's I guess fine.
I like barber shops.
I want to go to a.
They had a girly calendar on the wall.
Oh boy!
But what's funny is my barber is a woman, and I said, "What does that bother you?" She said, "Well, a little bit." Anyway, we moved. We moved. She left that barber shop.
And you followed her.
All male, and I followed her to her own. She owns it now. It's called Las Catrinas. It's really good. I like it.
Nice. And if you go there, you will be recorded.
Yes. No, she never got it working because she had an Android phone.
Oh, it would.
I'm in danger. Ah. You're watching Intelligent Machines, the show that just goes on and on and on and on with Jeff Jarvis and Paris Martineau. Are you working on a big story? Is there a radioactive shrimp in your future?
I'm working on another story. Yeah.
You mentioned you went to the courthouse.
I went to a courthouse today to go look at some documents because we have a really messed up system in the U.S. where if you want to look at court records from any of our district courts, you have to pay money for each document you look at based on the amount of pages you're looking at, as if you're printing them out. And that gets really annoying and expensive and adds up when you're trolling through cases that maybe have like 40 associated cases with, and you've got to figure out what document you need. But I've realized you can view all these for free if you go to the actual courthouse where those documents are associated.
As it should be.
As it should, but I think I should be able, I just go on a website that's a free version of a website where I have to pay. It costs them nothing.
Was the website's address freemoney.google.bat?
It should be.
Yeah.
It should be. Because that's what it felt like. But instead, I just had to check all my electronic devices and sit in a room where all the clocks were wrong.
That's government
the
work.
ones on the computer kept saying it was 9:54. And I was like, it's very clearly mid-afternoon. And so I had to keep going up to this man behind a desk being like, what time is it? And he's like, pointing at something else, a different clock that'd be kind of wrong. And then I looked through them.
You couldn't take pictures of the documents?
No, I had to bring in pencil and paper, and I wrote on my legal pad the names of the document exhibits, because I already knew the case numbers that I want to then, tonight, once I'm done with this podcast, go and pay money to download on my computer.
Wow.
Because that's a really normal way to have a
But you can't tell us what you're
courtroom.
working on. This is a secret.
can't. It is a secret.
Good. And how long does it take you to do a story like this?
Well, it depends. This is a story me and my editors have been kind of kicking around thematically for a bit, but it's kind of a complicated topic that on first glance seems a bit boring or esoteric, but every time I explain it to people, they get very interested.
Those could be the best
so
ones.
I'm trying, but I mean, it's difficult to figure out how we drill that down into a couple different stories that will interest people in the topic, and I think we found one angle for it.
Good.
But there's a couple different kind of procedural questions we have to answer first. So that's what
is this typical process? It sounds like Consumer Reports is really more detailed focused, more thoughtful.
They really are. I've really enjoyed working there. It's just a lot of people who know their stuff and
That's cool.
care a lot about taking the time to get it right.
Because I would imagine most websites would just say, yeah, whatever, go ahead and do it. You got 3 more stories to do by noon. So
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they're just like, whatever, do anything.
do anything. Just fill that page.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I'm so glad you got that job. What a great place
Me
to work.
too.
And
It's
they should be glad they got
lovely.
you.
I think your colleague is going to be on Twitter on Sunday. Nicholas.
Oh, lovely.
All right. We're going to take a break. You're watching Intelligent Machines with this intelligent person, Paris Martineau, and then a couple of dummies, Jeff and Leo. No, actually, I'm the dummy. Look, you got this brilliant investigative reporter. You got this former journalist, now esteemed professor, deep thinker, and author. And here I am. I'm a podcaster. What do
I will say I did somehow end up showing someone Dev Null last night. And they were like, whoa, he used to do that?
You
Does
work
he
with
look like
that
that in
guy?
real life? They're like, oh, he worked with Soledad? That's cool. I was like, she hated him. She hated Dev Null. Not Leo, but Dev.
No, I think she, I don't know. We tried to interview her and then she canceled. So maybe she doesn't. Maybe she realized, she went, Leo, oh, I'm not going to interview there. No. This is Intelligent Machines. All right. Matthew McConaughey is trademarking himself, saying, all right.
Ego.
He's
He's the actor I cannot bear most.
He wants to fight AI misuse. There he is in the 1993 film Dazed and Confused, which is where he coined that term, or the screenwriter coined that term. All right. Trademark.
Yeah, so
He actually ad-libbed that line. That is his line. He actually did.
Did he?
Yeah, he ad-libbed
good.
it.
Okay,
all right.
then,
So he should trademark it. He had 8 trademark applications approved by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office featuring him staring, smiling, and talking, according to the Wall Street Journal. His attorney said the trademarks are meant to stop AI apps or users from simulating his voice or likeness without permission, like on Sora, right? There's a 7-second clip of him standing on a porch. There's a 3-second clip of him sitting in front of a Christmas tree. And there's audio of him saying, all right.
So, Leo, what would you trademark of yourself? What is the trademarkable Leo Laporte?
But see, I have no desire to do that. I want people to use my name, my image,
but
my voice.
What is the essence of you?
I guess there's really nothing here. The empty shell. I don't know.
You are nothing.
I think you watch the show and it's over and you go, who was that guy in the middle? I don't. He's a non-entity. I'm like Joey Bishop. I'm like
Sorry, Paris.
Just
Can we
leftover.
have a brief discussion of what Anthony just posted in the chat, which is a full character sheet for Dev Null to be able to ostensibly recreate him in 3D videos?
We don't really even need that. I talked to the guy who was at the company that created Dev Null, and he said, "Oh yeah, I have all the files on a hard drive."
Well, they'll need it because Anthony's got a 3D recreation of Dev Null's butt here.
It's a little too good looking. Honestly, he wasn't that.
I think Dev Null needs one gold tooth. That's my pitch.
Although I am going to trademark this image from Pretty Fly for a Cis Guy. Now, do you think Matthew McConaughey would get mad at that?
Yeah, you're sued.
I'm in deep trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would never wear that watch though, so it's pretty funny. I like what you can do with AI.
Have you shown Paris the suit you had to wear when you made Dev Null?
Like I have it over here. I can.
Do you have a suit with just a bunch of little balls?
Think of a wetsuit. Yeah, think of a wetsuit. It was neoprene, full body neoprene except for the head, stopped at the neck, and it had ping pong ball like things on it. No, actually,
yeah, like the suits they put those cats in for the cat game.
Yeah, exactly. Or it was actually that would be if you were on camera. This didn't have ping pong balls because there was no camera. It was all electromagnetic sensors, so it would sense your motion. So, but they were still things stuck all over the suit. But I don't have a picture. I don't think. Maybe there is a picture somewhere.
I think you should show up one day to record just in one of those suits.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think I feel like there was a headpiece because, but I had puppeteers. I was the one doing the movement. There was a person with a little joystick doing my mouth movement. And then Karsten, my old producer, was spinning my hair and making my eyebrows go up and down. So that was way back when. That was 1994. I mean, this was very early on, doing real-time mocap. It wasn't even pre-recorded. It was done live.
That rig must have been so expensive.
It was attached to a $500,000 Silicon Graphics Onyx.
Jesus.
NBC, baby.
Network TV. Back when Network TV was the thing.
I have a pick for the network TV thing later on. It's actually for Paris to get her caught up to the cultural milieu that she is bathing in right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I have been monopolizing this. Please, you guys, your stories of the week. Are there any archive.org stories that you want to talk about?
Sorry,
If I write this program, are there going to be more archive.org stories?
I've gotten really distracted looking up photos of cats in motion capture soon.
I see.
To send in the Discord.
I see.
They're just really cute.
Have you ever played the game Stray?
I have, but then I got really sad because there's a couple QuickTime events in the game where if you don't move the cat fast enough, it gets overwhelmed by little glommy, gooey guys, and the cat dies. And it made me so deeply sad to see the cat die that I was like, I literally can't play the game anymore.
It didn't make me sad. It angered me.
It angered me, but it made me sad. The cats seem too real.
Well,
How
that's
did they
why
get
I
a
liked
cat
it
to
right up to
agree to
that
do
point.
that?
It was a chance to experience life as a cat.
I know. And I don't want to experience life as a cat getting overwhelmed by glommy, gooey guys.
Yeah. I'll give you a story while you guys look for your stories. The Senate yesterday unanimously passed the Disrupt Explicit Forged Images and Non-Consensual Edits Act, or Defiance Act. No roll call vote. No senator objected. This is, of course, in response to Grok and the deep fakes. Of course, now it goes to the House, where it will die a quiet death. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe people.
I do feel like there's been a surprising amount of political capital on the Hill for these sort of bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, by the way, this bill does not give law enforcement any new tools. All it does is say, as a victim, you can sue. And this is, remember, Texas did this. This is the new thing, which is, oh no, we don't want to enforce laws. We're just going to let people bring civil suits, tie up the courts.
Right.
That'll solve the problem.
And will enable citizens to sue.
Yeah, citizens. That's the one thing this bill does. If you're a victim, you can sue. Now, interestingly, not only sue the creator of the deepfake, but the platform. So you could, in fact, sue Grok or X.com.
I will choose a story here that just came in over the wire. I'll put it in the live chat. X announced, while we've been sitting here recording this, that it's going to Grok will no longer allow the editing of images of real people into bikinis,
they
as well as they're kind of making some other just general changes to this.
Well, why, Elon? There was no problem, you said.
It never happened.
It never happened.
Zero. But if it does, we're going to stop.
Yeah, it says that basically you can't use a Grok account to edit images of real people into revealing clothing generally, and that all of the image generating features are going to be behind its subscriber paywall. And the ability of all users to generate images of real people in bikinis, underwear, and similar attire will be geo-blocked in regions where it's illegal, which seems like not exactly the point.
Make it legal everywhere where it's not illegal.
Yeah.
Jeff, your turn.
We could talk about the billionaire tax and how pissed I am at the founders of Google to have already escaped.
Yeah, Larry Page bought a mansion in Florida where there is not only no billionaire tax, there's no state tax at all.
Moved his companies out of California.
And in fact, now Gavin Newsom, our governor, is saying, oh, I'm going to stop that law. We can't lose our billionaires. Oh, heaven forfend. No billionaires, whatever will we do? Gavin, they're not paying any taxes. They're just leeches. It's okay for us to lose them. It might help with the housing crisis.
Yep. So if Newsom vetoes it, which he says he will do, then there'll be an effort in the crazy California to get it on the ballot,
which will pass. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I mean, look, there's no reason a billionaire should be able to hoard their money.
I don't understand how the billionaire's tax works, but the argument often in these cases is that if you tax assets as opposed to income, then if you, let's say, start taxing a farm, there'll be no
That's a
farm
problem.
left.
Tax income. I
Because-
agree. The problem is billionaires are very good at deferring and
their
hiding income.
Right.
They basically borrow against assets and spend that money.
But there needs to be a way to get these suckers.
Yeah.
Peter Thiel has donated $3 million to fight the billionaire.
Yeah,
tax.
I understand both sides of this. I really do. It's problematic. It's the billionaires wouldn't suffer. They can afford it.
Yeah.
It's the people who have stock options or stock awards from their companies. They're working at Facebook or Apple, and they get
They haven't
stock awards. And
recognized
now
the value
suddenly,
of it. They can't buy a house with it yet.
they can't do anything with it. It's not actual money, but they are taxed on it. And I understand that.
Jensen Huang has said he has no objection to the tax. Interesting thing.
Honestly, the really big billionaires like Larry Page and Jensen Huang, it's a
They feel it.
rounding error.
Yeah, it's nothing. Well, their increase in their equity value far exceeds 5%. If it's only 5% a year, then they're doing it wrong.
Patrick Delahanty says Massachusetts does this. People said, oh no, all the billionaires leave Massachusetts, but the number in the state went up after the taxes went into effect. And what are they spending the money on? It means every child in every school in Massachusetts gets lunch free.
Yeah.
And they say there's no such thing as a free lunch. I don't know why I put this in the rundown. I think maybe because I want to make Paris listen to a 1952 recording of J.R.R. Tolkien reading from The Hobbit.
Please do. Yeah.
I think it's incredible that this surfaced, right?
Down here by the dark water lived old Gollum. I don't know where he came from, nor who or what he was.
This was 1952. This was very early in the tape recording era. And somebody sat down with Tolkien and said, hey, look at this cool thing I've got. Would you read some of your book into it? He also sang, apparently.
Oh, I would like to. Did he sing in Elvish?
That's a good question. When Tolkien visited a friend in 1952 to retrieve a manuscript, he was shown a tape recorder. Having never seen one before, he said, how does it work? And was then delighted to have his voice recorded and hear himself played back for the first time. The only reason this is newsworthy, these have been around for a while, is that somebody has put them up on YouTube. So if you want to hear it, search YouTube for J.R.R. Tolkien. That's pretty cool. I've heard these before.
Another interesting thing, I don't know if this is in the rundown. I should have probably added this. Dig launched new Dig today.
I've been using it for a while. Oh, I guess it's now public.
What is, I guess, your I'm curious as to your experience so far, because it's basically, from what I've heard of the writing about it, it seems to basically be Reddit. Like there's communities, posts, comments.
Yeah, it's Reddit.
Upvotes
Reddit copied Dig.
and it's all invite.
Reddit copied Dig, exactly.
I know, but Dig has abandoned that for long enough that Reddit is more ingrained in the common mind for these features now than Dig ever was. And I think that's always been a bit of a shame given what a early advantage Dig had to this.
I'm logging. Well, I guess I won't log in.
So one thing that I saw in some of the coverage of this is that Kevin Rose is kind of emphasizing the trust, like anti-bot angle of it as like kind of an interesting aspect of this. Basically, he's betting like this AI era social media needs new verification tools beyond just like a blue check mark, and says that they're going to use zero knowledge proofs like cryptographic verification without revealing personal data and other, quote, signals of trust bundled together to identify people within specific communities. Like one of the examples they gave is a community for Oura Ring owners could verify that everybody actually owns an Oura Ring that's in order to participate in it.
Kevin, first of all, Kevin's a good friend, longtime friend. I've known him forever. He and has been on our show many times. He was one of the founding members of our panels. The problem with Dig was that everybody gamed it. They went out of business because it was a very successful way to get attention for your blog or your website or whatever, and people started gaming it, and they couldn't figure out a way to keep it from gaming. And so he was briefly on the cover of Business Week. He was for a whole week on the cover of Business Week as the $60 million man, which Kevin took great pains to live down. Say, I never made any money from Dig. They eventually, kind of sold it. But Reddit stole
sell
their thunder.
ads, right?
Yeah. Well, the Reddit did it right and was very successful. The thing that Dig did that Reddit took was this idea of voting stuff up. And so Dig became, you would go there and see the most voted stories would be the top stories. So it's just as we were talking about earlier, how do you figure out what are the stories to pay attention to?
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that
my boss, Steve Newhouse, when I worked for him at Advance, really wanted to invest in or buy Dig, but he couldn't get anywhere with them. So he took the second choice, which was Reddit.
Interesting. And it did very well.
And he was smart enough
if it's because
of
Condi, but
he owned it fully for very little money, but then he spun it out so he could create equity in it,
right,
to motivate the staff, and it's grown to be huge now.
It looks like kind of, I guess, it looks like Reddit. It's not.
Yeah, what does it look
got
like?
Slash
Is there anything
food.
going on?
Here's slash food.
The
right?
bagel of life. All right.
I wouldn't eat it.
Do they have a subreddit for conspiracy theorists that believe?
How about, let's see if they have it for sovereign citizens.
I was about to say, the sovereign citizen subreddit is really what I'm always looking for in a communicant.
No communities.
You could start it.
Oh, yeah. I could. I don't know. What other subject? You said conspiracy? They must have that.
Well, no, I really meant sovereign citizen. I assume they don't have a conspiracy as one, being it's an early version of it.
Well, they must have an AI.
Do they have a, like, do they have a what's
AI
hot
coding.
or popular?
Oh,
like, what is the most popular?
One post in AI core coding.
It's only been a couple of hours.
Well, no, but the non-public beta has been around for months. Let's see what the most dug story is. No, I'm not going to show that. How Italian hazelnuts built an empire. So rich, it shouldn't pay taxes.
Cheesecake. Oh, no, you're still on food. You're on the food subreddit.
I was on the most dug. Okay, so here's trending. Trump says Americans don't need Canadian products.
You're in finance now. On the right is what it shows.
Oh, but
How does he get to a home with everything?
Let's go to the.
I don't know.
You keep doing some back. Click on the little dig.
Click back.
Go to home.
Feed trending most dug. That's what I want. All of Dig. Dig rebooted under original founder Kevin Rose and Alexis Ohanian, who ironically was the original founder of Reddit, and is now married to Serena Williams. Yeah. Okay. It's like Reddit.
Recapture a past.
You know what? It was pretty slow when I went originally for the beta, but now that it's going,
See what's there.
I'll check it out. And it has, what's this? Dig Daily. It looks like an audio.
Oh,
it must be
podcast. Interesting.
It's not doing anything, but I guess it's like a podcast. Yeah. Who's excited for the animal? This looks just like Reddit, doesn't it? Animal
I was
Crossing
going to
Switch
say,
2
is
version.
there an Animal Cross? Is there a new Animal
There is a new one for you have to have the Switch 2.
Game or
Yeah, they've added a lot of new content. Yep. It's pretty cool. Are you ready to go back, Paris?
I haven't. Well, it'll be quite sad because Animal Crossing does that thing where you haven't been there in years, where everybody looks at you and is like, "Oh, it's been 6 years." Since
And they
I've
say
last seen
exactly
you."
how long it's been, like 6 years, 3 months, and 4 days since you've been here.
I have long said the thing that new Animal Crossing is missing, and I will die on this hill, is they need to bring back Rossetti. They need to bring back that annoying little guy who
Rossetti.
gets really mad at you if you reset your game so that you can take advantage of the time feature of it to get better stuff. And I think that's just a wonderful game mechanic that, frankly, more games need to be using. Because I love that there's just a little guy that yells at you.
Apparently, Captain has a family, and they have a resort on the pier. It's kind of cool.
Oh boy,
that pier was empty for so long. There's some new.
Oh my God! There is a Rossetti's Reset service. I'm happy.
Clear
he's
your
so
island
here.
with Rossetti's Reset service. So
here he is.
I want the entire island cleared, and then you start over.
Listen, that's not what Rossetti does, but I'm happy I get to see him.
Yay. I might pick it up. Now, I don't have the Switch 2 yet. I should buy it.
Can you play this without the Switch 2?
No,
It just looks like they found him a job, Paris. They found Rossetti a job.
found Rossetti a job
I think
instead of
that's
annoying
great.
you.
But, I think his job should be to give you increasingly long monologues about the importance of playing your game the right way.
Yes, you can upgrade it. The 3.0 update is it for everybody. There is a $5 Switch 2 version, which has enhanced graphics and mouse controls, game chat capability, and the ability to host up to 12 people on your island at once. This was
God,
this was my COVID game.
what horrors await me? I haven't been back there since COVID.
Yeah, this is our quarantine game. What we did when we couldn't leave the house.
Yeah, maybe we should all get back into it and connect our islands.
Okay. No, it's such a time sink. I've got to spend time with Claude now. He's very demanding. I did like this story, and it has nothing to do with AI, but I'm going to do it anyway. Postal arbitrage.
Yeah, I couldn't figure this out.
Okay. So if you wanted to send a postcard or a letter to a friend right now, can you believe it? A stamp is 78 cents.
That's messed up.
That's messed up. But it turns out if you're a Prime member, it will send items for less than that. In fact, they sell items for less than that with free shipping. So what they're doing is a way to stay in touch with friends is exchanging cheap items like a lime or a packet of Kool-Aid Tropical Punch powder mix. Just a little thing that's cheaper than a letter.
And then you put on the little note that you can send with it your letter.
Yes. It's called postal arbitrage.
I will say, though, if anybody who's looking to do this to try and keep in touch with their friends, the little gift note that you can send with your Prime packages is like a heat stamp, so it will disintegrate into nothing. The text will go away after a couple of weeks.
Right, so make sure. Well, it's overnight.
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
All right, Paris. I'm going to send you a russet potato. I'll let you choose.
Thank you.
How much carbon goes in the atmosphere with every trip?
Christ, yeah.
Oh, we are burning the future of our children, but damn it, we've got free postage.
For now, until the postal service shuts down. Jammer Beatus had a great idea, which is Twit's 24 hours of Animal Crossing, and I agree. We could do an hour of those just sending fun items to one another.
I guess I could, with the HDMI port, connect. I could connect it up.
Easy.
Could probably do it right now.
Mm-hmm. Listen, we could do a solid 1/3 to 1/2 of the 24-hour stream, just gaming.
It's very tempting.
And as someone who used a sad lamp for the first time today, I think if we just had one of those babies running for the whole live stream, we'd stay awake the whole time.
Okay, you talk amongst yourselves while I see if I can hook this up.
Are you going to play Animal Crossing right now?
I'm going to fall over.
Jeff can't even comprehend the idea of playing a video game about his
I'm
niche
sitting
interests.
on a hot pad on a sore ass.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
When are you going one eye?
Next Wednesday. So I'll come
Exciting.
in the afternoon like that.
It's too complicated. I have to move the whole dock,
Right.
which has to be plugged in and all that. I'll have it for the next show. And we can show Jeff Pentimento.
We should.
You just need to plug it into
That
the
could
Black
be
Magic in your set. That's it. That's all you
Yeah,
need.
no, it has so, but I need the dock for the HDMI out,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
dock is all plugged into the back of my credenza. So
How
I
dare
want to
they.
move the credenza.
Could never move a
dock
credenza.
and the power supply out. It's really rather entangled back there, and I really haven't played it. You're right. You have roaches in your house and spider webs, and everybody kind of complains about how long you've been gone. And all right, let's
So I
wrap
tried
this.
to use VO, and I used our pictures. If you go to the Discord and you scroll up, you'll see the 3 videos I made about us
Oh,
in VO.
this?
New VO. We're not quite recognizable. That's not,
No, you look a little bit like Peter. No, that's not it.
you'll see 2 of them say local news, and the other one was my effort to have us in the pit. Before that, it's after you with
the
cigarette.
show, The Pit.
Yes.
Are these supposed to be us?
It's in the
It's
Discord
supposed to
or
be
is in
us.
the?
It's in the Discord.
Why don't I see it?
It's higher up there. I'm about 47 years old
Yeah,
in this,
yeah, the hair-
and
Oh
have
my
the
God.
forearms of a man.
I look like the guy from Project Runway. Oh no, that's Jeff. Wait a minute, let me turn up the sound. Is there sound on it?
Yeah, the sound.
The latest reports are looking stable. Yeah.
Let's proceed with the next topic.
Remember our previous
Big hair.
discussion on this. And that's how we wrapped up today's
She
segment.
looks like
I
she's
like
in
that
30 Rock.
none of the lips
You're
are
Tina
even
Fey.
remotely going
Doesn't
on with.
look all right. So here's one where we're at Gilligan's Island.
Are you-
I was
Are
asking
you on a-
us to do a dance routine on a cruise ship.
It's getting filtered out, Leo. The audio is getting filtered out a little bit.
Oh, I gotta click. Hold on. No, original sound is on.
It was working.
It just wasn't
for
very.
me.
Yeah, it's just not very loud.
Oh, the waves are crashing, the sun is bright. We're sailing away.
Is this supposed to look like us?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. No, and I tried to
even
go do
close.
a fourth, and I ran out of my videos for the day.
Thank God.
The one that really didn't work was that if you go up further, I thought we would do the pit version, but then of course it put
The vital signs
masks
are
on
looking
us, so you
stable.
can't see us.
Let's proceed with
look like-
caution. Remember our previous findings on this.
And that's how we wrapped up today's procedure, folks.
Well, at
Did I
least with
pull
the
a
masks.
microphone from his chest?
That's very weird. That's very
not that
So you
impressive.
cut it with a steak knife,
Our previous
and then you pull out a microphone.
I mean,
Very
and I
strange.
like that the background is your house, though, Jeff.
Oh, it is. Hey, well, that's the good
That's
news.
it.
It is in his
Oh.
living room. Yeah. That's your
right, it
studio.
is, yeah.
So at least I got that right. And actually, this cruise ship looks just like my my bedroom. Okay. Anything else before I send it to the picks of the week?
I'm exhausted.
I'm going to go grab a cat really quick. Some people in the chat are asking for that, but then we should go to
We
picks.
saw a little gizmo sighting earlier, but to complement the Rosie sighting, you're watching Intelligent Machines. Hey, a very special thanks to our Club Twit members who make this show possible. This week has been a little light on the adverts, but you know, it's always a relief to know that we've got your support. In fact, 25% of our costs are supported by club members, which is very cool since it's less than 2% of the total audience joins the club. I'd like to make that a lot bigger number, big enough we wouldn't need ads at all. Wouldn't you like that? No ads? Well, that's one of the benefits of being a club member. No ads. You wouldn't even hear me begging. Access to the Discord where all of those weird AI things are. And if you act today, we'll send you a hair from Gizmo. A Gizmo hair.
A gizmo hair, we've got plenty of them.
We got lots.
Coming off in bushels.
We got lots. I don't know. It's just one added benefit of the... Gizmos doesn't like that idea at all. At all.
I want to keep all my hair.
I want my hair. Don't take my hair. Twit.tv/clubtwit. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. In fact, in about an hour and a half, Micah is going to do his crafting corner, a very chill chance to hang with Micah and Micah Sargent and many of our club members as they do crafting of various kinds. He likes to do Lego. There's crocheting, sewing, cooking, coding. Lots of fun. Actually, we have been doing a lot of coding in our AI user group. That's the first Friday of every month, so it'll be in a couple of weeks. A chance to get together with other club members who are really into AI, and we do stuff. we make stuff. We also have, some good stuff coming up. Friday, Chris Marquardt, our photo guy for our photography show. You should come on that, Paris. You can ask him about what camera you should get.
I should. I really
He's a
should.
great teacher. He would be a good guy to listen to. We also have Stacy's book club coming up at the end of the month. A very interesting book. What else? Oh, Johnny Jett's going to make his return. He was a weekly regular on the radio show talking about travel and tech, and he will do his thing. I've realized I haven't talked to Johnny in so long, so we're going to get Johnny and talk travel. So please join the club. We'd love to have you. Twit.tv/club. Twit. All of that's made possible by your membership. Paris Monteno's pick of the week. Link. Well, you got a few of them here. You
I
did
got a
Creepy
couple
Link.
picks of the week. I did Creepy Link. I guess I'll plug that we tested 5 more protein powders after our last thing. It's actually kind of good news. I got hundreds and hundreds of emails from seemingly every reader in America asking me why I didn't test their favorite protein powder. So I tested the 5 most requested ones. All of them had low levels of lead, which were low enough for kind of safe daily or near daily consumption, which I think is particularly interesting because a common criticism or response I heard from, frankly, a lot of companies in the supplement space, as well as people who take protein shakes that we found at high amounts of lead, they're all like, well, it's really hard to get lead out of these things. There's always going to be some lead. It's really unrealistic to use Consumer Reports as really stringent lead standards. And this proves it's not. We tested 5 products, all chocolate, which could result in maybe more lead in it. And all of them had low, safer at least amounts of it, which show it's totally feasible for this industry to produce safe products. Just not every company is doing it. I asked I asked all the companies the products we tested. A lot of them didn't want to talk, which I thought was weird, because I think this is a pretty easy PR victory. But the 2 that did respond said how they did this it's pretty simple. They just test all their ingredients and test every lot of their finished product. And if there's a lot of lead in it or something bad, then they don't send customers the product, which seems like pretty standard operating procedure to me.
How hard is it to test for lead? I mean, you guys are doing this at Consumer Reports Labs. Is it a difficult test?
I mean, I guess you have to actually send it out to its own kind of lab. I think what I heard from some in the industry is that because there isn't a stringent requirement, there's no like strict federal limits basically for the amount of heavy metals, like something like lead, permitted in protein powders. Basically what the rules are is the FDA is like, supplement makers, you're not supposed to have anything harmful in your products, but you get to decide how much lead counts
as harmful. This is the problem with supplements.
To it.
Yeah.
So it's
really
like
hands off on this.
For a lot of companies, what they do, if they're going to do anything, they might reach out to there's this kind of third-party testing service called NSF International, that they have less stringent standards. They say it's good to have up to 10 micrograms per serving of lead, and we think that's
good too?
You're fine. That's what they will test to. You'll only flag as having too much lead if you're over 10 micrograms per serving. And for context, the FDA says one of the point that they reference as women of childbearing age, but then also all American adults for lead exposure, where it could be a risk, is around 8 something. So it's I don't know. I don't think that a large amount of lead is good for anybody. And it was heartening to find out that there are better options out there.
Good. Consumer Reports, and this one's open to the public, this article.
All of my reporting is open to the public.
Nice.
Yay.
Yeah. So get on up there. My other brief pick I'll just shout out, I mean, I'm cannibalizing a pick for next week, but such one won't do, is Traitors Season 4, everybody. The Traitors is a perfect reality show. You should be watching it.
I really love Alan Cumming.
Dresses up like
funny.
The campiest demonic lord of a manor you've ever heard, and it's lovely. You get to see housewives fight survivor people, fight drag race people, all while they pretend like they're about to be murdered in a creepy Scottish castle. It's fantastic.
Do they shoot it in Scotland or do they shoot it in Hollywood?
Shoot it in Scotland.
Oh, that's nice.
In a giant mansion, yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
I think, is he Scottish?
Oh, yeah, I think so. That couldn't be. It couldn't make up an accent like that. That's a real accent. Don't you think? He hosted the Webbies many years ago. It's quite funny. Quite good.
Yeah, he's just a great guy. He's got such crazy outfits on the show, too. I mean, they really dress him up in the most outlandish things.
I think I saw him in Cabaret, actually, on Broadway. Actually, it was at the old Studio 54 that they turned into a theater.
A likely place for him to be.
Very talented. I had 2 picks, and they're both for you, Paris.
Woo!
Yes. One is WikiFlix, which is a wiki with 35,000 public domain films in it.
Ooh.
You can read the stories of these films, and then you can also watch them. Like, did you see Nosferatu when it came out a couple of years ago? Well, wouldn't you like to see the original Nosferatu?
That, one of Nick Cage's favorite films.
Yeah. And they have a button called the Bechdel test that gives it, I guess, a rating in the Bechdel test. I doubt Nosferatu.
What is Nosferatu rated?
What was the Bechdel results? I don't know. That's the test where you do women talk about men in this movie? If
or
they do,
is there two women having a conversation about not men?
Not having men. Yeah. Oh, I see. They give it a good badge. If it passes the Bechdel test, they give it a badge. Yes. In old Arizona, did not, I'm sorry to say,
oh,
pass
they've got
the
a trip
Bechdel
to the
test.
moon on here.
Oh, the classic Jacques Millier. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
it says
this is a
that
cool
a trip
site.
to the moon passes the Bechdel test, but is anybody talking in
It's a silent film. Of course it does.
Omission is a virtue.
Yeah. There are no women talking in it. How about It's a Wonderful Life? I bet that doesn't. Do women in that movie have it's green in the Bechdel test. That means it's good.
Oh, okay. So when it's red in the Bechdel test, that means it doesn't pass.
doesn't
All right. So
pass.
It's a Wonderful Life does pass. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari does not pass.
Not. How about Mabel's Strange Predicament? I wonder how has no Bechdel rating. It's only 17 minutes though. So this is a chance to see a bunch of public domain films. Some new ones have come out, by the way, of course, every January 1st.
Yep.
And this is really good. 35,000 movies in WikiFlix. No, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. 4,409 movies. I guess, I don't know where I got that number. I made that number up.
Just up.
You hallucinated.
You're a damned LLM.
That was an LLM. Well, 4,400 movies still is a good number, a goodly number. The other one I think is fantastic. WantMyMTV.Vercel.app. It is MTV Rewind. You can, now I know you were not born in the MTV era, Paris Martineau. But
I
this
watched
is,
MTV.
Did you? Did it have music on it when you watched it?
Yeah, no, all the time. In my house growing up, we'd play MTV just kind of in the
There's the
background.
Moon Man floating through. Yeah. This had, now I double click any channel is set as your channel. I don't know if it's, what's going on? It did when oh yeah, here we go. For instance, the first day of MTV, you can watch the first day.
That's fun.
Wouldn't that be cool? Live Aid from 1985. After the passing of Bobby Weir, you can watch the Grateful for the Music. Bob Weir on Meeting Jerry Garcia. So this is just a collection of stuff, but if you want to really kind of relive MTV, they have MTV in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Who put this together?
I don't know, but I love it. And I think all these are YouTube videos, so it's legit. And you can relive your childhood. The
That's
MTV
fantastic.
Rewind.
I always thought that MTV should have a streaming channel where they're playing today's date, like 20 years ago. Like exactly what was going on like 20, 25 years ago. They should just do that
on this. Yeah. Really clever idea. And all of this stuff is on YouTube now. So Flexosaurus Rex did it.
Well, that answers that.
Thanks, Flexosaurus.
Thanks, Flexosaurus Rex. Whoever you are. MTV Rewind. Okay. Now, Jeff Jarvis's pick.
Well, I'll go with the one that pisses Paris and I both voted for this one. Let's go with this one, which is the bombshell report in The Guardian.
Oh,
casts
yes.
doubt on the discovery of microplastics through the human body. We want a little good news.
Okay.
It may be this.
What do you think of this, Jeff?
So the premise of this report, which is a response to the reports we all saw that said they found microplastics in everybody in their brain and stuff, is that fat in your body is very hard to distinguish from the kind of microplastic polymers, especially the microscopic particles that you would find. And they believe that it's probably false positives, that especially in the brain. The Guardian has identified 7 studies that have been challenged by researchers publishing criticism A recent analysis listed 18 studies that said it had not considered that some human tissue can produce measurements easily confused with the signal given by common plastics.
The issue is that it's useful to be having a discussion about our limits of analysis when it comes to anything basically, but especially when we're talking about very small particles like this and a relatively new field. However, I think the framing of this is overly broad and overly dismissive of a very large field of research that has a lot going for it. Even the quote in the headline that this is a bombshell report, and much of the most inflammatory quotes throughout the piece casting doubt in these studies are from a former Dow Chemicals engineer who worked for the companies that put a lot of the microplastics and phthalates in things. I think it's also, if you look into the specific,
you can't say there aren't microplastics.
Yeah, but there are some of these critiques that they're talking about don't entirely add up. Like one of the, I believe, studies that they say has people are asking questions about their methodology involves the kind of the researcher that checked cadavers' brains that came with the whole spoonful of microplastics thing that stuck in a lot of people's heads. He literally found a spoonful of actual plastics in the brain. The spoonful analogy was the plastics he found in the cadavers filled a spoonful in one case. So I don't think that you can say that that's a limit. The analysis of that was incorrect.
Let me quote Dr. Dusan Materek at the Helmholtz Center for Environmental Research in Germany, who says, the brain microplastic paper is a joke. Fat is known to make false positives for polyethylene. The brain is approximately 60% fat. Rising obesity levels could be an alternative explanation for the trend.
I think that tells you all you need to. There's a very specific category of scientific critic who's well, maybe the answer could just be rising obesity levels for everything, which I think is just a gross oversimplification of a number of factors.
There's no question there's a lot of plastics in polluting the world.
I think it's a commentary on media, both ends of the story.
Yeah, it is.
When they were supposedly found, they took scientific papers that are going to be challenged, as they should be challenged, because that's how science works, and they overdid it. And then here comes the challenge, and they're kind of overdoing that. And that's what media always does, because we don't understand how to communicate science. And I should put in a plug here that I am affiliated with the Alan Alda Center for Communicating Science for just these reasons.
God bless Alan Alda.
It's because science is super slow. Science is super slow, and media wants to be fast. So those two things are just not compatible.
Here's some critiques of this from one of my colleagues who we were discussing this yesterday, who has been kind of covering this over the last decade, which is that I found some of the critiques quite persuasive, she writes, others less so, and agree this is kind of dramatic framing for what is essentially no one has agreed upon methods for measuring microplastics, so some headlines are probably way overblown. I think that that's basically the takeaway here, and that's fairly uncontroversial. I don't think that anybody would think that's a bombshell study or that these other ones are a joke. And specifically that researcher you just quoted, who called the brain study a joke, is literally selling his own quote unquote better method for detecting nanoplastics on his own LinkedIn. That's his whole thing. So I feel that should have been included in there as well. If you're going to say that this guy is some objective source on this, and he's also trying to market what he thinks is a better version of this and sell it to you. I think that I don't know. I don't entirely know why people are so focused on microplastics, given that they are really difficult to properly detect and how little we know about their health harms.
It feels so invasive into our bodies.
I think we're all freaked out about it because plastic just very clearly seems bad to be there. But we know that there are chemicals in plastics, like phthalates and bisophenols, that leach out into us and into our food. And we have a lot of research showing the ill effects of that. And I think that is, I don't know, a way better thing to focus on here than being no, the microplastics don't really exist. It's fine. Put plastic in everything. It's just I don't know. I'm sorry to take away our good moment.
You can also make a strong case that plastics, which are made from hydrocarbons from fossil fuels, are not a good thing to make anyway, because they don't biodegrade and they're made with problematic chemicals. So
And they're everywhere in our lives.
use less plastics is not a bad thing to aim for, whether that's going into your brain or not.
Amen.
I try.
It's so hard.
Just like you, Paris. I don't buy water bottles. I use a refillable bottle. When I go to the grocery store, we use cloth bags instead of the plastic bags the grocery store offers. Not just for carrying home the groceries, but putting the vegetables in too. Wherever possible, eliminate plastics. Nobody would disagree. I don't think, except the oil industry. That's a good thing to do. We don't need all these plastics. They're a bad thing. I don't use a plastic toothbrush. I don't use plastic razor blades whenever possible. I try to avoid the use of plastics because
Where do you get a non-plastic toothbrush
Yeah,
from?
that's that.
You can get bamboo
On airlines, they
toothbrushes.
have wooden ones.
Yeah, you can get bamboo toothbrushes. Actually,
But are the bristles non-plastic?
I use an electric toothbrush because I think that's better for my teeth. Made by a company called Siri. That they recycle the toothbrush. The toothbrush itself is the cornstarch. The head of the thing is made out of cornstarch, which you send back to them and they recycle. And then the body is repairable, which is really fantastic. You send it back to them and they can take it apart and recycle it or repair it and send it back to you. So I actually really like this thing. But that's how I try to avoid plastic toothbrushes. Same thing with razor blades. I just use I switched to an electric razor so I wouldn't use plastic razor blades. Now I'm using electricity.
My ass and I are
perfect.
fading.
Okay, fading ass. Thank you, Jeff Jarvis, professor of journalistic innovation. I forgot. You had some procedure. Are you doing all right?
No, that's next week. No, I fell on Saturday. That's why.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
well, feel better, sir.
You took a fall.
I
better,
did take
sir.
a fall like an idiot. I
sorry.
was pulling the sheets and blankets off the bed to do the wash and standing on a hardwood floor in bare feet. And I had put the blanket in really securely the week before.
Yeah.
So my feet went out and I went down on my back.
Yikes.
I had the back.
Yikes.
So no, I have the next Wednesday morning. I have the first of my eye.
You're going to have the eye patch. That's right.
We've got to get eye patches, Leo. There can
I
only
have
be
an eye
3
patch. I
eyes
will
in
wear
this.
it. Yeah, and I also have a monocle, so I can have an eye patch and a monocle. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff
Thank
Jarvis.
you.
Don't forget to get his books, the Gutenberg Parenthesis magazine, and everything else. JeffJarvis.com. Paris Martineau, thank you so much. Investigative journalist. She's working on the string, the red string. Consumer Reports. Thank you all for joining us. We do this week in Intelligent Machines. I almost said this week in Google. We do Intelligent Machines every Wednesday.
MS Now, darn it. MS Now.
MS Now. Has anybody on MSNBC said
I haven't
MSNBC?
heard it. I have not
I was
heard them.
super impressed that they.
That's
made
really
that.
impressive, and given the amount of errors that CBS
hard.
News has already done.
Oh,
don't get me started.
Don't get us started.
Yeah, sorry, we can't bring this up at this
Don't
point.
bring
about
up
that
Barry
for King
Weiss.
Couric
Don't,
Media.
please. What's his name? Tony Dukippel?
Cope, like you have to cope with him.
Cope with him.
If you
He's
go
going to
to
be doing a sponsored whiskey hour very soon.
If you go to Katie Couric Media, you'll see me writing about it. She invited me to write about it.
Nice. I can't wait to read it.
Exciting.
It's sad. I mean, that was the Tiffany Network, but that's another story for another
It's
day.
now the Capitamonte Network.
Yeah. We do the show every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Actually, I'm trying to do, by the way, I don't want to do p.m. anymore because that's Latin. I don't want to do o'clock because that's medieval. I'm going to say it's at 1400. We do it at
O'clock?
1400 Pacific.
1400
1700 Eastern time. That is 2200 UTC. Yeah, see, I'm going to do 24-hour clock from now on. All my clocks are 24.
2400 o'clock is crazy.
No, it's 2200.
2200 o'clock?
No, I didn't say o'clock. I said
you won't do o'clock
2200.
anymore.
There's no o'clock. Somebody reminded me that's of the clock. We were talking about this, right?
And we
Of the
don't
clock.
want. We don't.
And it's not
want to be
post
thinking-
meridian. What the hell does that mean? No, 1400 Pacific.
Tradition is okay.
I am a man of the new AI-generated century. That's all I want to say. We will see you. You can watch us live in the Discord if you're a club member. Also on YouTube, TikTok. No, not TikTok. YouTube, Twitch, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. TikTok proved too difficult. They have lots of barriers to streaming. After the fact, on-demand versions of the show at the website, twit.tv/IM. And you can also get it on YouTube if you want to share it with friends and family. Best thing to do, though, subscribe in your favorite podcast client. That way you'll get it automatically the minute it's available. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you tomorrow, next week, this is going to be the show. but I got to get my eye patch on the proper side. Which eye will it be on, Jeff? Left eye. Okay, we all need to left eye.
2 weeks later, the right.
We do.
Oh, God, that's so confusing. What was
I'm going to have it? Mine will be ugly, as white plastic thing with teeth.
Oh, no. Yeah, cup.
Disgusting. Yeah.
You should get one of those dog things, like the Elizabethan collars. Keep you from licking your wounds. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Intelligent Machines. Do not lick your wounds, kids. Hey, everybody. Leo Laporte here. It's your last chance. We're in the final stretch of our 2026 audience survey. So important for us both to know you better, because we don't gather information about you except this one time a year, and it helps us with advertising, and we collect no personal information. We just want to know about you in general. So if you would help us out, if you haven't filled out our survey yet, this is the time. It closes January 31st. twit.tv/survey26. It helps us improve our shows, and it helps us make money, and we need to do both. So survey is at twit.tv/survey26. Should only take a few minutes. Thanks in advance.